Victoria Hartwell's Mercedes blocked the dirt road completely. She stepped out, her heels sinking into mud, but she didn't care. Sarah Bennett stood on the cabin porch, baby Sophie clutched to her chest, Emma hiding behind her legs. "You have 48 hours, Victoria said, her voice ice cold despite the summer heat. 48 hours to take my offer and leave, or I make one phone call and Child Protective Services removes those girls from your care. One call, Ms. Bennett. Think about what's best for your daughters." Sarah's hands shook, but her voice didn't. "Get off my property." Victoria smiled the kind of smile that came before blood. "This isn't your property. This is James Carter's grave, and you're about to join him." Now, before we dive into how Sarah Bennett went from that terrifying moment to discovering a $20 million secret, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this story gets wild. Drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from so I can see how far this incredible true story reaches. Trust me, you'll want to stick around until the very end. 3 months earlier, Sarah had believed in fresh starts. That belief died the moment she stood in her foreclosed home watching strangers cart away furniture that no longer belonged to her. "Mommy, where's my bed going?" Emma asked. 5 years old, clutching that ratty stuffed rabbit she'd had since birth, too young to understand that everything was gone. Sarah knelt down, forced her voice steady even though her hands wouldn't stop shaking. "We're going on an adventure, baby. Remember camping? It'll be like that for a little while. Forever camping?" The question hung in the air. Sarah couldn't answer because she didn't know. She had $127.43 in her wallet. That was it. That was everything. Marcus pulled up in his Tesla, the one he'd bought with money he'd stolen from their joint accounts. Sarah's ex-husband stepped out wearing a designer watch that probably cost more than their entire month of groceries used to. The mediator called. He said, not even looking at Emma, "I'm not paying child support until my Bitcoin investment recovers. Could be 6 months, could be never." Sarah stood up slowly. "You gambled away our daughter's college fund. You took out a second mortgage without telling me. You destroyed everything we built." "I made strategic investment decisions. You made emotional ones." He glanced at her beat-up Honda. "Guess we can see who was right." "You can't just walk away from your children." "Watch me." Marcus got back in his Tesla. "Oh, and Sarah, your lawyer called mine. You can't afford to take me back to court. So I guess we're done here." He drove away. Emma tugged Sarah's hand. "Is Daddy mad at us?" "No, baby, Daddy's just lost right now." That night in the Motel 6, Sarah counted her money again. $127.43. Room cost $89 a night. Formula for Sophie cost $23. Gas tank was a quarter full. Her laptop screen glowed with impossibility. Boulder County tax foreclosure auction, Saturday, September 14th, 10 in the morning. Every property started at $50,000 or more. She might as well have been looking at listings for Mars Real Estate. Emma appeared beside her in the flickering light from the neon sign outside. "Mommy, why are you crying?" "I'm not crying, sweetheart, just tired." "Sophie's been crying for a while. I think she's hungry." Sarah looked at the formula can. 3 scoops left. The store closed in 20 minutes. She had $15 after tonight's room. She opened a new browser tab. Typed in words that made her stomach turn. How to live in a car with children. Homeless shelters, Boulder County. What happens when CPS investigates homeless mothers? Her phone showed the suicide hotline number she'd saved 3 days ago. Her finger hovered over it. Then Emma started singing softly to Sophie. "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray." Sarah closed all the dark tabs, opened the auction listings one more time, scrolled past all the properties she couldn't afford. Then she saw it. Item 23, structure and 8 acres Silver Creek Mountain. Listed as environmental hazard zone structure, condemned, no utilities, no access guarantee, sold as is for tax recovery only. Starting bid $1,000. Except nobody had bid $1,000 in 42 years. The county just kept relisting it, hoping someone would take it off their hands. Sarah stared at that listing until her eyes burned. A condemned cabin in the middle of nowhere. No electricity, no water. Probably falling apart. Definitely dangerous. But it was shelter. And nobody wanted it. She packed their 3 suitcases, loaded Emma and Sophie into the car at dawn, and drove to the Boulder County Courthouse. The auction crowd looked like money. Designer suits, leather briefcases, people discussing investment properties over expensive coffee. Sarah stood at the back, holding Sophie, gripping Emma's hand, wearing a blazer she'd slept in. "Item 7, the auctioneer called. 3-bedroom ranch, Mapleton Hill. Starting bid $175,000. Hands shot up immediately. The bidding war ended at $340,000. People applauded. Item 11, commercial lot Pearl Street. Starting bid $500,000. More hands, more money. Final sale $820,000. Sarah watched numb. She had $127.43. She shouldn't even be here. Two wealthy men nearby were talking. They're auctioning that toxic site up in Silver Creek today. The Carter Death Trap County's been trying to dump that for 40 years. Place is contaminated. Some Cold War mining disaster. Anyone stupid enough to bid on that deserves what they get. Item 23, the auctioneer announced. Structure and 8 acres Silver Creek Mountain. Environmental hazard zone structure condemned, no utilities, no access guarantee. Starting bid $1,000. Silence. 500, more silence. Does anyone want to bid anything at all? A woman in an expensive suit laughed. Victoria Hartwell, though Sarah didn't know her name yet. The CEO of Titan Resources. Even $1's too much for that dump, Victoria said to her assistant, loud enough for everyone to hear. The soil samples from the 70s showed arsenic, mercury, lead contamination. You'd spend millions just making it safe to walk on. Final call, the auctioneer said. Any bid at all, or this goes back to county limbo for another year. Shroot. Sarah felt Emma's small hand in hers, looked down at her daughter's trusting face. 3 choices stood before her. Live in the car until CPS took her children, enter a homeless shelter where they'd separate families, or bet everything on nothing. Her voice came out stronger than she felt. 10 cents. The entire crowd erupted in laughter. People actually pointed at her. One man nearly spit out his coffee. Victoria Hartwell turned around, eyebrows raised in amusement. Did she just say 10 cents? The auctioneer looked confused. Ma'am, this is a legal auction. You asked for any bid, Sarah said louder. 10 cents is legal tender. You have no other bidders. The county wants this property off the tax rolls. I'm offering the only bid you'll get. Emma pressed against her leg. Mommy, everyone's staring. The auctioneer conferred with the county clerk. Sarah held her breath. This was insane. A condemned cabin miles from civilization. No power, no water. Probably contaminated soil, but it was something she could own outright. Something nobody could take away. This is highly irregular, the clerk said. The auctioneer sighed deeply. Sold to the lady for 10 cents. Please see the clerk for paperwork. God help me, I can't believe I just said that. More laughter, but different now. Mocking, cruel. Victoria Hartwell approached her perfume, expensive enough to smell, from 5 feet away. You realize you just bought a contaminated death trap that'll cost $50,000 in hazmat cleanup before you can legally step inside. That cabin's been condemned since a geologist named James Carter died there in 1978, probably from toxic exposure. Sarah met her eyes. Better a death trap I own than a car I'm living in. Victoria's expression changed, genuine surprise flickering across her face. You're homeless. Not anymore. Look, I admire the audacity, but Titan Resources has been monitoring that property. If you want to sell, I could offer you $500. That's a 5,000% return in 5 minutes. No. You haven't even seen it. I said no. Victoria's maternal concern vanished instantly, replaced by something cold and calculating. Your funeral. Literally. She handed Sarah a business card. When you realize you made a mistake, call me. This offer expires in 30 days. At the clerk's office, Sarah handed over a dime. Her daughter's combined ages rounded down. The physical act of placing that coin on the counter felt both ridiculous and monumental. The clerk slid papers across. Normally we do title searches, but honestly, nobody's cared about this property since Carter vanished. Here's the deed. She pulled out a plastic grocery bag from under her desk. This was in Carter's file. Personal effects the county never knew what to do with. Figured you might as well have it. Probably just junk. Inside the bag, Sarah found a faded Colorado School of Mines student ID from 1962. A photograph of a young man with kind eyes holding a little girl, a hand-drawn map with strange symbols, and a letter unopened addressed to whoever comes after me. Should we open it? Sarah asked Emma. Emma studied the photograph. He looks nice, like he knows secrets. Sarah opened the letter. The handwriting was precise in engineer's script. If you're reading this, you paid almost nothing for this land. That means you have nothing to lose. That makes you dangerous to people who think money is power. They're wrong. The person with nothing to lose has all the power, because they're free. Don't trust Titan Resources. Don't trust the county. Don't trust anyone who offers you money for this land without seeing it first. The cabin is rough but solid. The water is clean. I tested it 500 times. The land will provide if you're willing to learn. I left instructions. Find them, use them, finish what I couldn't. JC, April 1978. Sarah folded the letter, carefully tucked it in her pocket. Let's go see our new home. The drive took 2 hours on roads that got progressively worse. Highway 70 West was smooth. Route 119 wound through mountains. County Road 7 had potholes. Forest Service Road 447 was barely maintained dirt. The final mile was just 2 ruts through pine forest. Sophie screamed in her car seat, missing her feeding by over an hour. Emma kept asking if they were there yet. The gas gauge dropped below, empty. Warning lights lit up the dashboard like a Christmas tree. GPS lost signal 40 minutes ago. Sarah navigated by Carter's hand-drawn map. Lightning-struck pines still there and blackened. Boulders shaped like a bear, unmistakable. Creek crossing terrifying but passable. Old mine marker, a rotted wooden post that almost wasn't there anymore. Then through the trees, their new home appeared. Sarah's breath caught, but not with hope. The cabin looked like something from a horror movie. Roof sagging in the middle. Windows boarded with rotting plywood. Porch steps completely collapsed. Front door hanging on one hinge. Chimney cracked with birds nesting in the top. One entire corner settling into the ground. That's our house. Emma's voice was tiny. Sarah's throat closed up. It's rustic. It looks like where monsters live. She couldn't argue. It absolutely did. She cut the engine. Silence flooded in. No traffic sounds. No neighbors. No sirens. No connection to humanity. Just wind and pines, distant crow calls, and a creek babbling somewhere behind the cabin. Sophie broke the silence with a screaming wail that seemed to echo forever. Okay, Sarah said, more to herself than Emma. Okay, let's just look inside. The front door was locked with a rusted padlock. The key from the county clerk didn't fit. Of course it didn't. Mommy, I really have to pee. Go behind that tree, baby. I'll come with you. While Emma peed outdoors for the first time in her life, traumatized and crying about bears, Sarah found a loose board on one of the windows. She pulled. It came free, showering her with wood dust and what she desperately hoped were just cobwebs. Inside was darkness, musty air, the smell of decades of abandonment. She boosted Emma through the window first. Tell me what you see. Emma's voice echoed from inside. It's really dark, and there's stuff everywhere. Mommy, I see a skeleton. Sarah's heart stopped. What? Just kidding, but there's a really big spider. Sarah climbed through, scraping her arm on the window frame. Blood she'd notice later. Inside, her phone flashlight revealed a space that was surprisingly intact despite decades of neglect. Main room, maybe 20 by 20 feet. Stone fireplace dominating one wall. Handmade wooden table shoved in a corner. Shelves built into walls still holding books. Wood-burning stove, rusted but maybe salvageable. Floors hardwood under thick dust. Ceiling water-stained but no visible holes. Back bedroom smaller. Metal bed frame with no mattress. Built-in shelves. Window still had glass. Carved into the windowsill, JC 1967. Loft space accessed by a ladder. Just tall enough to crouch in. Surprisingly dry. No bathroom, no kitchen, no electricity, no running water. But solid walls. Intact roof mostly. Stone foundation level. And silence so complete it felt like being underwater. Sarah sat on the dusty floor. This is insane. We can't live here. There's no toilet, no shower. Emma sat beside her. But it's ours, right? Nobody can take it away. No, nobody can take it away. Then it's better than the motel. The motel scared me. This is just old. Sophie's screaming outside reached a fever pitch. First things first, Sarah said. Get Sophie. Feed her. Then we figure this out. She helped Emma back through the window, then climbed out herself. At the car, she fed Sophie the last of the formula. The baby calmed, drinking desperately. Emma tugged her sleeve. Mommy, look. Sunset was breaking through the pines. Golden light flooding their clearing. The cabin, despite its disrepair, looked almost magical in that light. The creek sounded closer than she'd thought. The air smelled of pine and earth, an impossible possibility. James Carter, Sarah whispered, what did you get us into? She pulled out his letter, read the final line again. The person with nothing to lose has all the power. All right, she told her daughters, let's unload the car. Tonight we sleep in our new home. Without beds, Emma asked. We'll make nests out of our clothes, like birds. Birds in a broken house. The best kind of birds. As they carried their 3 suitcases inside, Sarah noticed something on the porch. A cooler half buried under debris. She opened it. Inside, another letter. Day 1 is always the hardest. The creek is 200 yards south. Follow the sound. Water is clean, but boil it anyway. There's a fire pit behind the cabin. Matches in the stove drawer. You'll want to quit tomorrow. Don't. JC. Who were you? You James Carter? Sarah asked the empty air. That night, they slept in sleeping bags on the swept floor. The cabin was freezing. Sophie cried most of the night. Emma shivers despite being wrapped in every piece of clothing they owned. Sarah lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if she'd just made the worst decision of her life. Day 2 started with Sophie's crying and Emma shivering. The cabin temperature was 38 degrees. Sarah's breath came out as visible fog. First crisis of the morning? No diapers? Sophie's rash was getting worse by the hour. Sarah tore up an old t-shirt, watched a YouTube video on her phone about cloth diapers, and fashioned something that barely worked. Her phone battery dropped to 22%. No way to charge it. Food inventory looked grim. 2 cans of beans, 1 box of crackers, 3 granola bars. They'd eaten 1 granola bar for dinner last night, split 3 ways. Mommy, I'm cold, Emma said, teeth chattering. I know, baby. We'll make a fire. She found matches in the stove drawer exactly where Carter's note said they'd be, but making fire proved harder than every camping trip she'd ever been on. The wood was damp. The chimney was blocked. The papers she tried to use as kindling just smoked. First attempt filled the cabin with smoke. Second attempt, the wood wouldn't catch. Third attempt, a tiny flame died immediately. Fuck it. Sarah screamed, then screamed it again. Fuck. Emma stared at her shocked. Mommy said a bad word. Sarah collapsed on the floor, sobbing. I can't do this. We're going to freeze. You're going to starve. I spent our last money on a death trap, and I can't even make a fucking fire. Emma knelt beside her, patted her head with small hands. It's okay, Mommy. You're doing your best. Those simple words broke through Sarah's panic. She wiped her tears, forced her engineer brain to take over. You're right, okay? This is just a cold engineering problem. She examined the chimney from outside, completely blocked with a massive bird's nest. She climbed onto the porch roof, terrified, but determined, reached into the chimney with a stick. She pulled out the nest. 3 dead birds that made Emma scream, and a waterproof cylinder deliberately wedged in the chimney. Sarah climbed down, hands shaking. Opened the cylinder. More letters from Carter dated sequentially. Day 2. You're probably trying to make fire. Check the chimney. Day 5. You'll need water. Ceramic filter under the porch, southwest corner. Day 10. You'll wonder if I'm real or if you're going crazy. I'm real. I lived here 11 years. You can too. Day 30. By now you've found my journals. Read them carefully. Every word matters. He left us instructions, Sarah told Emma, like a treasure hunt. 4th fire attempt. Success. Heat flooded the cabin. Emma stopped shivering. Following Carter's directions, Sarah found the creek. Crystal clear mountain water running over smooth stones. The sound of it was like music. The smell was clean and mineral sharp. She risked a sip. It tasted like nothing she'd ever had. Pure. The ceramic filter was under the porch exactly where Carter said, dated 1975, still functional. As she filled bottles, she noticed something carved into a boulder beside the creek. JC Aero Lab Arrow. Lab. Sarah looked at sleeping Sophie in the backpack carrier. What lab? She followed the arrow. 200 yards upstream, a cave entrance nearly hidden by overgrowth. Inside, using her phone flashlight that was now down to 11% battery, she found geology equipment. Microscopes, sample jars, measurement tools, filing cabinets most locked. A workbench covered in notes. Sample 47B. 12.7% rare earth elements. Sample 48C. 15.3%. Sample 49A. 18.9%. Highest yet. On the wall, a massive topographical map with dozens of locations marked in different colored pins. Rare earth elements, Sarah whispered. Her aerospace engineering brain kicked into gear. He was prospecting. Lithium cobalt. What was he looking for? She took photos with her dying phone, then noticed one filing cabinet wasn't locked. Just stuck. She forced it open. Dozens of sample bags, each labeled with coordinates and dates, all from 1975 to 78. She grabbed 3 samples at random, shoved them in her pocket. As she turned to leave, her flashlight caught something that made her freeze. Fresh footprints in the cave dust. Not hers. Someone else had been here. Recently. By day 8, they'd established a rhythm. Wake at 5, start fire, boil water. Feed Sophie and Emma. Homeschool using pine cones for math. Chores, repairs, water collection. Nap time for all 3 of them, because nights were still brutal. Exploration in the afternoons. Dinner, mostly foraged plants and the dwindling supplies from town. Bed at sunset. Their money was down to $82.11 after one trip to town for beans, rice flour, and used sleeping bags from the thrift store. The breakthrough came while Emma played with Sophie and Sarah examined the stone fireplace more closely. One stone looked different. Sandstone among granite. She pushed it. It moved. Behind it, a hollow space. Inside, a leather-bound journal remarkably preserved. Journal of Dr. James Carter. January 1967. I've left NASA. Jennifer thinks I'm crazy. Maybe I am, but I can't be part of what they're planning. They want my rare earth research for military applications. EMP weapons. Control systems. I told them I didn't spend 8 years studying geology to help them build better ways to kill people. So I took my research and ran. Bought this abandoned mining property for $500. If they want my discoveries, they'll have to find me first. The irony. The government thinks rare earth elements are only in China and Australia. They're wrong. I've found concentrations in Colorado that rival anything in the world. Elements critical for future technologies. Scandium, yttrium, neodymium, terbium. If I'm right, and I am right, this land is worth millions. Maybe tens of millions. But I'll never tell them. Never. Sarah's hands shook as she turned pages. March 1967. Confirmed. Site Alpha contains 15.7% rare earth oxide content. China's Bayan Obo mine, the world's largest, averages 6%. This single deposit could supply America's entire rare earth demand for a decade. July 1967. Men came today. Government suits, asked about my work. I played dumb. Just a hermit looking for silver. They left, but they'll be back. I've begun hiding my samples. Insurance. December 1967. Jennifer and Amanda visited. Amanda loves the cabin. She's 4 now. Jennifer begged me to come home. To stop this nonsense. I can't. If corporations control these elements, they'll monopolize the future. Electric vehicles, renewable energy, communications technology, everything. This isn't about me anymore. It's about who controls the future. Mommy, what's that book? Emma appeared at her elbow. A treasure map, sort of. I knew it. I told you he had treasure. Sarah found the next part on day 12. A VHS tape hidden in the wood stove's ash drawer. But they had no way to play it. No TV, no VCR, no electricity. She spent her last $50 at a pawn shop in Idaho Springs, 45 minutes away, with the gas gauge terrifyingly low. A combination TV VCR unit that she'd power using their car battery. That night, Emma and Sophie watched as James Carter appeared on screen. 42 years old, but looking older. Weather-worn, bearded, eyes intense with purpose. If you're watching this, I'm probably dead, Carter said directly to camera. If you found this cabin cheap, that means Titan Resources covered up my work and contaminated my reputation. They're good at that. Sarah leaned forward, Emma pressed against her side. My name is Dr. James Carter, PhD in Geology, Colorado, School of Mines. Former NASA researcher, current I don't know what I am. Prospector crazy person, dead man talking. Here's what you need to know. His voice was calm but urgent. 1. This land contains rare earth elements worth approximately $23 million at 1978 prices. Adjusted for future demand and trust, demand will skyrocket when electric vehicles go mainstream. We're talking potentially 200 million or more. Sarah stopped breathing. 2. I documented everything. GPS didn't exist when I started, so I used USGS benchmarks and triangulation. My system works. I verified each site 3 times minimum. Carter leaned closer to the camera. 3. Titan Resources knows, or they suspect. Richard Hartwell, the CEO, approached me in 1976 with a partnership offer. I refused. He's been trying to acquire this land through shell companies ever since. Don't trust anyone associated with Titan. Emma gripped Sarah's hand. 4. Extraction method matters. Conventional rare earth mining destroys watersheds for generations. I developed a selective extraction protocol. It's in my notes marked Protocol 7B. It targets specific depth zones while leaving aquifers intact. Carter's expression grew intense. 5. If you're watching this, you probably have nothing. That makes you perfect. The person with nothing to lose can't be bought, can't be threatened, is truly free. Use this information wisely. Don't be greedy, don't sell out, and whatever you do... The tape cut to static. No. Sarah rewound played again. Same cutoff. Written on the VHS label in permanent marker. Tape 1 of 3. See journal entry December 15, 1977 for tape 2 location. Sarah returned from town on day 17 to find their front door open. She knew she'd locked it. Inside, everything had been searched. Drawers open? Shelves disturbed? Nothing stolen because they had nothing worth stealing. But on the table, a business card. Victoria Hartwell, CEO, Titan Resources. Handwritten on back. 30 days is up. Time to talk. Mommy, someone was in our house, Emma said, voice small. I know, baby. Are we in danger? Sarah wanted to lie, but Emma was too smart now. Maybe, but we're not leaving. This is ours. That night, she reinforced the door with 2x4 braces, boarded windows from inside, set up an alarm system using fishing line tied to tin cans. She also hid the journal tape and samples in 3 separate locations. Journal wrapped in plastic buried under the woodpile. Tape inside Sophie's diaper bag. Samples back in the cave lab different cabinet. At 2 in the morning, the tin can alarm clattered. Sarah grabbed her heavy flashlight, the only weapon she had, and looked through the window cracks. Just a raccoon. But as she returned to bed, she saw fresh tire tracks in their driveway that hadn't been there at sunset. Someone was watching. Sarah sat up the rest of that night, flashlight in hand, watching the door while Emma and Sophie slept. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow looked like a threat. By dawn, her hands ached from gripping the flashlight so hard. Day 18 started with exhaustion and a decision. She couldn't just hide. She needed to understand what Carter had really found, and she needed to do it fast. Emma, I need you to be very brave today, Sarah said over breakfast of watered-down oatmeal. We're going back to the cave. I need to find more of Mr. Carter's clues. Is the bad lady coming back? I don't know, baby, but we need to be ready if she does. They hiked to the cave, active with Sophie in the carrier, Emma holding tight to Sarah's hand. Inside, Sarah went through the filing cabinets methodically this time. The locked ones she forced open with a crowbar from the car. In the 3rd cabinet, she found it. Laboratory reports from 3 different facilities, all dated 1975 through 77, all confirming the same thing. Rare earth element concentrations between 12 and 19%. Worth millions. Maybe tens of millions at current market prices. Oh my God, Sarah whispered. It's all real. Everything he said is real. Emma tugged her sleeve. Mommy, there's another letter. Taped to the inside of the cabinet door. Sarah's hands shook as she opened it. By now you know the deposits are real. Titan knows too. They've always known. That's why Richard Hartwell tried to buy this land from me. That's why he'll try to buy it from you. Don't sell. The moment you sell, this becomes corporate property and the extraction method doesn't matter anymore. They'll strip mine the entire mountain and poison the watershed for 100 miles. But if you hold the land, you control the extraction. You can do it right. You can prove it's possible to develop resources without destroying everything around them. They'll threaten you. They'll offer you money. They'll try to scare you away. Don't let them. The person with nothing to lose is the most dangerous person in the world to people like Hartwell. Stay dangerous. JC Sarah photographed everything with her phone now down to 8% battery. She needed to get to town, charge her phone, and figure out what to do next. They were halfway back to the cabin when she heard it. A vehicle engine coming up their road. Emma, run to the cabin. Lock yourself and Sophie in the bedroom. Don't come out until I say. Mommy. Now, baby, run. Emma ran. Sarah waited by the clearing, heart pounding as Victoria Hartwell's black Mercedes appeared through the trees. Victoria stepped out designer hiking boots that had clearly never seen a real hike. Her smile was all sharp edges. Ms. Bennett, I've been trying to reach you. I don't have phone service out here. How convenient. Victoria looked at the cabin at the improvements Sarah had made. Solar panels, reinforced roof, garden beds. You've been busy. Impressive, really. Most people would have given up by now. What do you want? To make you a serious offer. $150,000 for the property, cash, today. You could afford a real home for your daughters. Get them into proper schools. We're fine here. Are you? Victoria's voice dropped, became almost maternal. No electricity, no running water, no internet. Emma should be in kindergarten with other children. Sophie needs regular pediatric care. This isn't living, Ms. Bennett. This is surviving. Barely. We have solar now, and satellite internet is being installed next week. Victoria's expression changed, the concern vanishing. You really don't understand what you're sitting on, do you? This isn't about a cabin. It's about resources critical to national security. Rare earth elements that America desperately needs. By hoarding this land, you're hurting your own country. Hoarding, I paid 10 cents. You could have bid 11. We did our due diligence. The geological surveys from the 70s showed nothing valuable, just contaminated soil. Then why do you want it so badly? Victoria's pause lasted too long. James Carter was brilliant, but unstable. He claimed he found rare earth deposits, but he could never prove it. After he died tragic accident carbon monoxide poisoning, we searched everything, found nothing, just rambling journals about government conspiracies. Carbon monoxide in a cabin with a wood stove and no gas lines. Victoria ignored the question. My final offer, $250,000. That's 2.5 million% return on your investment. Take it and give your daughters a real life. No, the mask dropped completely. Victoria's voice turned to ice. You're making a mistake. It's my mistake to make. Victoria leaned closer, voice dropping to barely above a whisper. You have 2 young daughters. Accidents happen in remote locations. Fires, falls, wild animals. I'd hate for anything to happen to them because their mother was too stubborn to accept reality. Sarah's blood ran cold. Did you just threaten my children? Threaten? Victoria smiled. No, I'm concerned for their safety, that's all. She got back in her Mercedes, but before driving away, she rolled down the window. Oh, and Ms. Bennett, your ex-husband called my office yesterday. Apparently he's very concerned about his daughter's living conditions. Very concerned. The Mercedes disappeared down the road, leaving Sarah shaking with rage and terror. Inside the cabin, Emma emerged from the bedroom. Mommy, you're crying. I'm just angry, baby. At the bad lady. Yes, at the bad lady. That night, Sarah barely slept. Victoria's words kept echoing. Your ex-husband called. Marcus hadn't contacted them in 2 months. Now suddenly he was concerned day 19 brought the first direct attack. Sarah woke to find a dead deer on their porch, throat slit, blood everywhere. Emma saw it before Sarah could stop her. The little girl screamed and kept screaming until she made herself sick. Day 20. Someone slashed all 4 tires on the Honda while they were inside having lunch. Sarah had to use their emergency fund to buy used tires in town, money they needed for food. Day 21. Sarah found Sophie outside the cabin at dawn. Someone had opened the door, carried the baby out, and left her crying in the cold. Sophie was unharmed, just freezing and terrified. Sarah drove to town on the spare tire hands, shaking so badly she could barely steer, and filed a police report. Deputy Martinez looked skeptical. Ma'am, are you certain someone took your baby? Could she have crawled out? She's 11 months old. She can't open doors. She can't crawl 50 feet through pine needles. Someone took her. Do you have evidence of who might have done this? Sarah wanted to scream. Titan resources, but she had no proof. Just circumstantial evidence and a business card with a threat written on the back. No, she said finally. Just please, can you patrol out there, even once a day? Martinez shifted uncomfortably. Ms. Bennett, you're 40 minutes from town in an unincorporated area. We don't have the resources for regular patrols. Maybe have you considered moving back to civilization? That cabin life isn't for everyone, especially with small children. So we're on our own. I'll do what I can, but I'm being honest with you. You're pretty isolated out there. Sarah drove home knowing nobody was coming to help them. They were alone. That afternoon, a battered pickup truck arrived. Sarah grabbed her flashlight, ready to fight, but the woman who emerged didn't look threatening. 58 weathered hands, sharp eyes, Native American features. Sarah Bennett. Who's asking? Someone who knew James Carter. The woman's voice was steady, calm. May I come in? Sarah hesitated, then nodded. Inside, the woman examined the cabin with knowing eyes, touching the walls, the fireplace, the shelves. He told me about the hidden compartments, the chimney cache, the floor safe under the bedroom. Sarah's heart jumped. There's a floor safe. You haven't found everything yet. Good. That means neither has Titan. The woman knelt in the bedroom, counted floorboards from the window. 3, 4, 5. She stamped her heel on the 6th. Hollow sound. They pried it up together. Metal safe combination lock. Try 14/15/1978, the woman said. What's that, Ned? The date he died. December 15th, 1978. The day Victoria's father murdered him. The safe opened. Inside mining claim certificates prepared, but never filed. Lab results certified by 3 independent laboratories. Photographs of James Carter with this woman both younger. A letter addressed to Elena. Sarah looked up. You're Elena. Elena Rodriguez. James was my geology professor at Colorado School of Mines. Later we were close. Very close. He wanted to marry me, but I was already married. Traditional Lakota family. Divorce wasn't acceptable, so we worked together instead. What happened to him? Elena's expression hardened. Richard Hartwell, Victoria's father, offered him $500,000 for his research. James refused. Said these elements shouldn't be controlled by one corporation. A week later, he was found dead in this cabin. Carbon monoxide poisoning, the coroner said. Except James was an engineer. He'd installed CO detectors everywhere. They were all disabled. Why didn't you go to the police? I did. They said I was a grieving colleague making accusations without evidence. Richard Hartwell donated $50,000 to the sheriff's re-election campaign that year. Case closed. Elena handed Sarah the letter from the safe. Elena, if you're reading this, they got me. Don't mourn. Don't seek revenge. Just finish the work. The mining claims are prepared, but not filed. I couldn't file them without revealing the deposits to Titan. But someone else can. Someone with nothing to lose. Someone they underestimate. Find that person. Help them. Make sure these resources benefit the people, not the profiteers. I love you. I always did. James. Elena wiped tears from her eyes. I've been waiting 41 years for the right person. You're her. I'm not the right anything. I'm a broke single mom who doesn't know what she's doing. You paid 10 cents because you had nothing else. That's exactly who James wanted. Someone who understands that value isn't money, it's purpose. Victoria threatened my daughters. I know, that's the Hartwell way. Elena pulled out a thick folder from her bag. But here's what they don't know. I've been documenting Titan's crimes for 41 years. Environmental violations. Bribery? Intimidation? I have files thick enough to bury them. I was just waiting for someone to stand up to them so I'd have legal standing to release everything. Release it now. Can't. Statute of limitations. Unless they commit new crimes against you, everything I have is too old to prosecute. But if they go after you, and they will, we document everything. Build a federal case. Then we bury them. Sarah felt something shift inside her. She wasn't alone anymore. What do I do? First, we secure this cabin properly. No more midnight visits. Then we get your land independently tested. Prove it's not contaminated. That removes their contamination excuse. Then we prepare for the real fight. What real fight? Elena's expression grew grim. They're going to try to take your children. It's what they always do when they can't buy someone. They go after what matters most. 3 days later, the certified mail arrived. Sarah drove to town to pick it up. Sophie strapped in the car seat, Emma playing with her rabbit in the back. Emergency custody petition. Marcus Bennett seeking full custody of Emma Bennett and Sophie Bennett. Sarah pulled over on the side of the road and threw up. The grounds made her sick. Endangerment mother living in condemned structure. Neglect no proper sanitation or utilities. Educational deprivation, children not enrolled in school. Exposure to hazards, contaminated soil, wildlife, extreme isolation. Hearing date October 25th. 7 days away. Sarah called Marcus, his hands shaking so badly she could barely hold the phone. You son of a bitch! Sarah, I'm concerned about our daughters. His voice was smooth rehearsed. Living in the wilderness isn't appropriate. You haven't asked about them once in 2 months. Who paid for your lawyer? That's not relevant. Answer me. Pause. A friend? A business contact who's concerned about the girls. Someone from Titan Resources. I don't know what you're talking about. How much did they pay you? Marcus, $50,000, $100,000. This conversation is over. See you in court. He hung up. Sarah sat in the car crying while Emma watched with worried eyes, and Sophie slept peacefully, unaware that someone was trying to take her away from her mother. Elena helped her prepare. They photographed every inch of the improved cabin. Clean, safe, warm. They documented Emma's homeschool progress, reading at second grade level at age 5. They gathered Sarah's freelance engineering income records, $2,100 last month. They collected character witness statements from Deputy Martinez, the town librarian, the hardware store owner, but it wasn't enough. They'll bring expert witnesses, Elena said. Child psychologists saying isolation is harmful. Engineers saying the structure is unsafe. You need something bigger. Like what? File the mining claims. Now, today. Sarah stared at her. Why? Because if you're a claim holder, you're a legitimate businesswoman developing natural resources. You're not a homeless mother squatting in a shack. You're an entrepreneur. Optics matter in family court. Filing costs $425 per claim. Carter prepared 12 claims. That's $5,100. I have $1,847 total. Elena pulled out a checkbook. James left me some money in his will. I've been waiting 41 years to spend it on something that matters. This matters. I can't take your money. You're not taking it. You're investing it in James's legacy, in proving he was right, in stopping Titan from destroying another mountain. Take the money, Sarah. File the claims. Give yourself a fighting chance. Sarah took the check with shaking hands. $5,000. More money than she'd seen in months. Why are you doing this? Because James believed someone would come. Someone brave enough to finish his work. He was right about the rare earths. He was right about Titan. He was right about everything. I won't let him be right about that and wrong about finding help. October 23rd, 2 days before the custody hearing. Sarah stood in the BLM office in Golden, Colorado, filing all 12 mining claims simultaneously. The clerk's eyes widened as she read the rare earth assay reports. These concentrations, if these are accurate, they're verified by 3 independent labs, 1975, 76, and 77. The clerk lowered her voice. Ma'am, you should know that someone else has been inquiring about these exact coordinates, a corporation. They've been trying to file overlapping claims for years, but couldn't without proof of discovery. You're about to make some very powerful people very angry. Good. By 5 o'clock, all claims were official. Public record. By 6 o'clock, Sarah's phone rang. Victoria Hartwell's voice was barely controlled rage. You stupid, stupid woman. Do you have any idea what you've just done? Yeah, I filed legal mining claims on my own property. That's called capitalism, Victoria. I thought you'd approve. Those deposits belong to nobody until I filed. Now they're mine. Well, mine and the United States government's. First filer wins, right? That's how public mining claims work. You will regret this. Probably, but at least I'll regret it in a court of law with public records, not in a dark cabin with mysterious carbon monoxide leaks. Sarah hung up, then immediately threw up in the BLM parking lot. Elena held her hair back. James would be so proud. I think I'm dying. That's adrenaline. Come on, custody hearing is in 2 days. We still have work to do. That night, Sarah couldn't sleep. She sat at Carter's handmade table, writing in the journal she'd started keeping. Tomorrow I could lose Emma and Sophie. Tomorrow Marcus bought and paid for by Titan will tell a judge I'm an unfit mother because I chose independence over compliance. But tonight I filed mining claims worth $20 million. Tonight I'm not a homeless woman. I'm a claim holder. Tonight I'm not desperate. I'm dangerous. James Carter said the person with nothing to lose has all the power. He was right. Tomorrow we fight. She closed the journal, kissed her sleeping daughters, and allowed herself one moment of quiet terror before dawn. October 24th, the day before the hearing. Sarah received a visitor she didn't expect, a young man with a press credential. David Chen, Denver Post investigative reporter. Ms. Bennett, I got an anonymous tip about your custody case. Documents suggesting Titan Resources is using family court to intimidate a mining claim holder. Can you comment? Sarah's mind raced. An anonymous tip. Who would have sent that? She glanced at Elena, who gave the tiniest shrug. Maybe Elena. Maybe someone else who hated Titan. I can't comment on an ongoing custody case, Sarah said carefully, but I can tell you that I filed legitimate mining claims 2 days ago, and my ex-husband, who hasn't contacted his daughters in 2 months, filed for emergency custody 7 days after I refused to sell this land to Titan Resources, David Chen wrote furiously. The timing is interesting. The timing is fucking suspicious, Sarah said, then caught herself. Sorry, don't quote that. Oh, I'm absolutely quoting that, he grinned. Look, I've been investigating Titan for 3 years. They have a pattern. Find small landholders with valuable resources. Make lowball offers. When refused, make life hell until people sell just to make it stop. Your story fits perfectly. Can you publish before tomorrow? Tomorrow, no. But I can attend the hearing as press. Public court proceedings. And if anything hinky happens, I'll have it on record. Sarah felt a tiny spark of hope. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Titan has expensive lawyers. This could get ugly. It's already ugly. That afternoon, Sarah did something she'd been avoiding. She called her mother. They hadn't spoken since the divorce. Her mother had sided with Marcus, said Sarah was being dramatic about the gambling, that she should stay and work it out. "Mom, it's Sarah." Silence. Then, "I heard you're living in the woods somewhere." "I bought a cabin. I'm fixing it up." "Marcus said you're not fit to care for the girls." Sarah's chest tightened. "Marcus hasn't seen the girls in 2 months. He's being paid by a corporation to say that." "That sounds paranoid, Sarah." "I filed mining claims worth $20 million on Monday. Tuesday, Marcus filed for custody. You think that's a coincidence?" Long pause. $20 million. "Yes." "And you found this how?" "A geologist who owned this land before me documented everything. He died in 1978. I found his research." Another pause. "Sarah, are you okay?" "Really okay, because this sounds insane, I know, but it's real. Mom, all of it. And tomorrow I might lose Emma and Sophie because I chose to develop these claims instead of selling out to a corporation that's been trying to steal this land for 40 years. "What do you need?" The question surprised her. "What?" "What do you need from me? Money, a place to stay, a character witness." Sarah started crying. "I don't know, I wanted you to know that if something happens tomorrow, if they take the girls, it's not because I'm a bad mother, it's because I wouldn't sell out. Nothing's going to happen tomorrow." Her mother's voice was firm. "Give me your lawyer's number. I'm driving up tonight. They want to say you're unstable, fine. Let them explain why your mother, who has known you your entire life, thinks you're the most stable person in this family." "Mom." "Give me the address. I'll be there by midnight." Her mother hung up. Sarah sat holding the phone, crying, while Emma came over and hugged her legs. "Is Grandma coming?" "Yeah, baby, Grandma's coming." That night, 3 women sat at Carter's table, Elena reviewing legal documents, Sarah's mother Margaret reading through everything, asking sharp questions, and Sarah trying not to fall apart. "This Victoria woman threatened the girls." Margaret's voice was ice. "Yes." "In writing, recording, just verbal, but Elena has recordings of other threats." Margaret turned to Elena. "You're the environmental lawyer." "Yes, ma'am." "And you've been documenting Titan's crimes for 40 years. 41. Why now? Why wait so long?" Elena met her eyes. "Because I needed someone brave enough to stand up to them. Sarah's that person." Margaret looked at her daughter. 20 million in rare earth elements. "If Carter's numbers are accurate, yes." "And you paid 10 cents. "Yes." Margaret started laughing. Couldn't stop. 10 cents! My daughter bought a $20 million mine for 10 cents, and now a corporation is trying to steal it using family court. She wiped tears from her eyes. "James Carter, whoever he was, he picked the right person." "You believe me?" "Honey, I've watched you solve problems since you were 5 years old. If you say there's rare earth elements under this mountain, there's rare earth elements. And if you say Titan Resources is corrupt, they're corrupt. I'm sorry I didn't believe you about Marcus sooner." "It's okay, Mom." "No, it's not, but we'll fix it tomorrow." Margaret stood up. "Now show me where I'm sleeping. We have a custody hearing to win." October 25th. The day everything changed. The Boulder County Family Court was packed unusual for a custody hearing. Sarah recognized Victoria Hartwell in the observer gallery, smirking. 3 expensive suited lawyers sat with Marcus. Elena sat behind Sarah. Margaret sat beside her. And in the back, David Chen, with his press credential and recording device. Judge Catherine Morrison called the court to order. "This is an emergency custody petition filed by Marcus Bennett. Mr. Carlisle, you're opening." Marcus's lead attorney stood. Daniel Carlisle, 50-something shark eyes. "Your Honor, this is straightforward endangerment. Ms. Bennett has removed her daughters from civilized society and is raising them in a condemned shack. No electricity, no running water, no bathroom facilities." Sarah's court-appointed attorney started to object, but Morrison waved her silent. "Ms. Bennett, how do you respond?" Sarah stood. "The property has solar electricity, a sophisticated water filtration system, and composting toilet facilities that meet EPA standards. As for contamination..." "Your Honor," Carlisle interrupted, "we have an expert witness, Dr. Robert Thornton, environmental toxicologist." An older man took the stand, credentials impressive, demeanor confident. "I reviewed EPA reports from 1978. The soil shows elevated levels of arsenic, mercury, and lead." From a mine 3 miles away, Sarah said. I had independent testing done. Objection, Carlyle said. Ms. Bennett cannot produce certified lab results. Sarah pulled documents from her bag. Actually, I can. Dated October 20th, 2019, soil, water, and air quality, all within safe parameters. Morrison took the documents, studied them. These appear legitimate, Mr. Carlyle. Even if we accept that the environment is marginally safe, there's evidence of psychological harm. Emma Bennett is isolated from peers receiving no proper education. She's homeschooled, Sarah said. Her portfolio shows reading 2 grades above level. And the mother is clearly unstable. She paid 10 cents for this property. 10 cents, Your Honor. What rational person? Someone with 10 cents? Sarah said. Laughter rippled through the gallery. Morrison's lips twitched. Your Honor, Carlyle continued, flustered now. We have testimony from Marcus Bennett about Ms. Bennett's erratic behavior. Paranoid accusations about corporate harassment. Elena stood from the gallery. Your Honor, may I speak? Are you a party to this case? Elena Rodriguez, environmental attorney. I can provide documentation of the corporate harassment Ms. Bennett described. Carlyle objected. Morrison overruled. Elena presented photographs of dead deer/tires spray-painted threats. Police reports, timeline of Victoria's offers, and recordings. I recorded my conversation with Victoria Hartwell last week. She explicitly admitted to applying pressure to make Ms. Bennett sell. I can also provide documentation that Titan Resources paid for Mr. Bennett's legal representation. Marcus jumped up. That's not, Carlyle grabbed his arm. Sit down and shut up. Morrison leaned forward. Mr. Carlyle, did your client receive financial assistance from a third party for this litigation? My firm was retained by a concerned citizen who wishes to remain anonymous. That's not an answer. Your Honor, the source of legal funding is not relevant. In a custody case where corporate interests may be influencing a parent's petition, it's very relevant. Morrison turned to Sarah. Ms. Bennett, do you have evidence that Titan Resources paid for your ex-husband's legal fees? Not direct evidence, Your Honor, but I filed mining claims 2 days ago on rare earth deposits worth an estimated $20 million. Titan has been trying to acquire this land for 41 years. My ex-husband, who hasn't contacted his daughters in 2 months, filed this petition 7 days after I refused Titan's purchase offer. Morrison's expression sharpened. $20 million, is this verified? Sarah handed over the BLM filing. The assay reports. Carter's documentation. Morrison studied them for a long moment. From carbon monoxide poisoning in the same cabin Ms. Bennett now occupies. I remember that case. I was a law clerk here in '78. The investigation was unusual. Fast closure despite questions about disabled detectors. Carlyle was sweating now. Your Honor, I move to adjourn. Denied. Morrison looked at the back of the courtroom. Mr. Chen, Denver Post correct. How did you learn about this hearing? David Chen stood. Anonymous tip, Your Honor. Someone sent me documents suggesting Titan was using family court to intimidate a mining claim holder. Ms. Hartwell. Morrison's voice cut through the room. Victoria Hartwell stood slowly. Why is the CEO of Titan Resources attending a custody hearing for people she's never met? I have concerns about child welfare. Bailiff. I want Ms. Hartwell's phone records subpoenaed. Any calls to or from Marcus Bennett or his attorneys. I want Titan's financial records files regarding payments to Carlyle and Associates. Your Honor, you can't. I can and I will. This entire proceeding reeks of manipulation. Morrison turned to Sarah. Ms. Bennett, I'm dismissing this petition with prejudice. Mr. Bennett, you may file for standard custody modification through proper channels, but this emergency petition is denied. Moreover, I'm referring this case to the DA's office for investigation into witness tampering and fraudulent petition. Sarah collapsed into her chair, sobbing. Margaret hugged her. Elena squeezed her shoulder. Morrison wasn't finished. Ms. Bennett, one more thing. If your mining claims are genuine and worth what you say, get better legal representation. Titan doesn't give up easily. She has representation now. Your Honor, Elena said. I'm filing notice of counsel. Good. You'll need it. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. David Chen pushed through first. Ms. Bennett, is it true you paid 10 cents for land worth $20 million? Sarah wiped her tears. The land cost 10 cents. The fight to keep it is costing much more. Will you sell to Titan? Never. Why not? Sarah thought of James Carter, of his journals, of 41 years of waiting for someone to finish his work. Because some things aren't for sale. The man who discovered these deposits died protecting that principle. I won't dishonor his memory by selling out. Chen grinned. That's a great quote. Can we do a full interview? Tomorrow. Right now, I need to hug my daughters. That evening, back at the cabin, Emma was asleep, Sophie babbling in her crib when Elena and Sarah sat on the porch with tea. You did good today. We did good. I couldn't have won without your recordings. James would have loved watching Victoria's face. Sarah paused. Elena, what if I can't do this? Develop the claims fight, Titan raise my girls. It's too much. Then don't do it alone. James tried to fight by himself. It got him killed. This time we build community. Other claim holders. Environmental groups. Local governments. A cooperative. The Carter Cooperative. Exactly. Non-profit. Community-owned. Extract the rare earths using James's protocols, sell at fair market price and reinvest profits into environmental restoration. How do we start? We find allies, and we already have one. Elena pulled out her phone, showed Sarah a news alert. David Chen's article. Single mom's 10-cent cabin hides $20 million secret in a possible murder. The article had 2.4 million views in 6 hours. Reddit was exploding. Twitter trending 10-cent cabin. We're famous, Sarah whispered. No, Elena said. You're dangerous, and that terrifies them. Sarah's phone rang at 6 in the morning 3 days after the article went viral. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Ms. Bennett, this is Dr. Yuki Nakamura from UC Berkeley. I'm a rare earth extraction specialist. I've reviewed James Carter's Protocol 7B. It's revolutionary. If his method works, it could change the entire industry. Sarah sat up in bed, Sophie still asleep beside her. You think it works? I think we should test it. I have research grants. Berkeley has state-of-the-art facilities. Send me samples. Let us verify the concentrations and the extraction method. If it's real, and I believe it is, we patent the method and license it globally. Patent it, but under your name. With provisions requiring environmental standards. You control the technology, which means you control how it's used. Titan can't extract without your permission. That's power. Sarah's hands shook. Why are you helping me? Because I'm tired of watching the rare earth industry destroy Mongolia and Congo while America pretends its hands are clean. If Carter's method works, we can decouple economic development from environmental destruction. Nakamura paused. Also, I read the article. Anyone who bets 10 cents against corporate greed deserves support. After the call, Sarah found Elena already up making coffee on their camp stove. Margaret was still asleep in the loft. Berkeley wants to test Carter's protocol, Sarah said. That's good. That's very good. Verified academic research makes you legitimate, harder to dismiss as a crazy woman squatting in the woods. I need to send them samples from the cave. Then we go to the cave, but Sarah, we need to talk about something else first. Elena pulled out a folder. I've been contacted by 4 other people, 2 environmental groups, 1 documentary filmmaker, and a lawyer from the Southern Poverty Law Center. Why SPLC? Because Titan has a history, not just environmental crimes. They've forcibly displaced indigenous communities, bribed local officials, used private security to intimidate landowners. The SPLC has been building a civil rights case for 3 years. Your situation gives them a new angle. Sarah sat down hard. This is bigger than me. It always was. James knew that. That's why he left all those clues. He was building a case for whoever came next. You're not just fighting for this cabin. You're fighting for everyone Titan has ever hurt. I can't do that. I'm just trying to keep my kids safe. Then let other people fight the bigger fight. I focus on the cabin. But Sarah, understand this. The moment you filed those claims, you became a symbol, whether you want to be or not. Emma appeared in the doorway, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Mommy, there are people outside. Sarah's heart stopped. What people? People with cameras. Sarah went to the window. 5 vehicles parked along the road. People with professional cameras, sound equipment notepads. Press. Jesus Christ, Margaret said from the loft. They found you. Elena was already moving. Don't go out there unprepared. Let me handle this. But before Elena could reach the door, someone knocked. Firm official. Sarah opened it to find a woman in a Forest Service uniform. Sarah Bennett, I'm Ranger Julia Thompson. We need to talk about your mining claims. Are they invalid? No, they're valid. That's the problem. Your claims overlap with designated wilderness areas. Federal land management is complicated. Can I come in?" Sarah let her in. Emma hiding behind her legs again. Thompson looked around. The cabin nodded approvingly. "You've done good work here. Most people couldn't make this place livable." She pulled out maps. "Here's the issue. Carter filed these claims in '77 before the wilderness designations went through in '86. If he'd filed them officially, they'd be grandfathered in, but he didn't file. You did, in 2019. So they're invalid? No, but there's going to be legal challenges. Environmental groups might fight you. Wilderness advocates. It's going to get messy." Sarah felt the walls closing in. "What do I do?" "You get ahead of it. You prove you can extract without destroying wilderness. You make allies of the environmental groups instead of enemies. And you do it fast before Titan figures out how to use wilderness protection laws against you." After Thompson left, Sarah stood on the porch staring at the reporters. They wanted a statement, a story, something to feed the machine. Elena came out beside her. "You don't have to talk to them." "Yes, I do. If I hide, Titan controls the narrative. If I talk, at least I get my version out there." Sarah walked down to the road. Cameras immediately focused on her. Microphones thrust forward. "Ms. Bennett, how does it feel to discover $20 million on land you bought for 10 cents? "Terrifying," Sarah said honestly. "I bought this cabin because I was homeless with 2 daughters, and 10 cents was all I had. I didn't know about rare earths. I didn't know about James Carter. I just knew I needed somewhere my children could be safe." "Are you going to sell to Titan Resources?" "Never." James Carter spent 11 years documenting these deposits. He developed an extraction method that doesn't destroy the environment. Then he died under suspicious circumstances. I'm not letting his work disappear so a corporation can strip mine this mountain. "But you could be a millionaire." "I could also be dead, or my daughters could be. Titan has already threatened us. They tried to take my children through family court. They've vandalized our property. They've made it very clear they'll do anything to get this land." "Do you have proof?" Elena stepped forward. "I have 41 years of documentation showing Titan's pattern of intimidation, bribery, and violence. I'll be releasing it all to federal investigators next week." The press erupted with questions. Elena raised her hand. "We're forming the Carter Cooperative, nonprofit community-owned, dedicated to proving that rare earth extraction can be environmentally sustainable. Anyone interested in learning more can contact us through the Denver Post. David Chen has our information." They went back inside, shut the door on the chaos. Sarah was shaking. "Did I just declare war on Titan?" "You declared war when you filed the claims. This is just making it public." Margaret came down from the loft. "I need to get back to Denver. But Sarah, listen to me. You're doing the right thing. Don't let them scare you into giving up." "I'm already scared." "Good. Scared means you're paying attention. Stupid is when you're not scared." Margaret hugged her hard. "Call me every day. And if anything happens, anything at all, you call 911 first, me second." After Margaret left, Sarah and Elena hiked to the cave with Emma and Sophie. They needed samples for Berkeley, but Sarah also wanted to search more thoroughly. Carter had hidden things in layers. Every time she thought she'd found everything, something new appeared. Inside the cave, Emma played with Sophie while Sarah and Elena went through filing cabinets again. In the back of the last drawer, Sarah found another waterproof container. Inside VHS tape number 2, and a letter. "By now, Titan knows you filed the claims. They're probably escalating. Don't back down. They're counting on you being scared enough to sell. But fear is just information. It tells you something matters enough to be afraid of losing it. Use that. The more they push, the more certain you can be that you're right." Tape 2 explains the extraction protocol in detail. Find a geologist you trust. Test it. Prove it works. Then watch them panic. JC, that night, they watched tape 2 using the car battery again. Carter appeared on screen older than tape, one more tired. "If you're watching this, you survived their first attacks. Good. It gets worse before it gets better." He smiled grimly. "The extraction protocol is based on selective chemical dissolution. Instead of strip mining, we drill narrow boreholes to target depth. Inject my proprietary solvent mixture. Extract dissolved rare earth elements. The rock matrix stays intact. The aquifer stays intact. We're doing surgery, not amputation." He walked through the process step by step, showing diagrams explaining chemical ratios, demonstrating on scale models. Sarah recorded everything on her phone. "The industry will say it can't be done commercially," Carter continued. "They'll say it's too slow, too expensive, not viable at scale. They're wrong. I've run the numbers 1,000 times. This method extracts rare earths at comparable cost to strip mining with less than 5% of the environmental impact. The reason they won't use it is because it requires giving up control. It works best at small-scale community level, not corporate mega operations. The tape ended with Carter staring directly into the camera. Whoever you are, thank you for continuing this. Thank you for being brave enough to stand up to them. And please, please be careful. They killed me. I know they will. By the time you see this, I'll be gone. Don't let them kill you too. Stay public. Stay visible. That's your only protection. The more people who know your story, the harder it is for them to make you disappear quietly. Good luck. You're going to need it. The screen went to static. Emma was crying. The treasure man died. Yes, baby, a long time ago. Because of the bad people. Yes. Are the bad people going to hurt us? Sarah pulled Emma close. Not if I can help it. Tashumi. 2 days later, Dr. Nakamura arrived with a team from Berkeley. 3 grad students, a truck full of equipment, and infectious enthusiasm. They set up at the first deposit site. Carter had marked the one he'd called Alpha. This is remarkable, Nakamura said, examining Carter's maps. The level of detail. Most prospectors document maybe 20% this thoroughly. He documented everything. They drilled the first borehole narrow and precise, exactly as Carter's protocol specified. Injected the solvent mixture. Waited. 48 hours for the chemistry to work. When they extracted the first sample, Nakamura's expression changed completely. What? Sarah asked. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. It's working. Concentration in the extracted solution is 47% rare earth oxide. That's unheard of. Conventional methods get 6 to 8% at best. Elena grabbed Sarah's arm. Carter was right. Carter wasn't right, Nakamura said. He was a genius. This method is 50 years ahead of the industry. We could extract $20 million worth of elements with the environmental footprint of a small farm. Sarah looked at the drill site barely 10 feet across. That tiny hole is worth millions. Welcome to the rare earth business. But success brought new problems. That night, 3 of the Berkeley team's vehicles had their brake lines cut. Nobody was hurt because they discovered it before driving, but the message was clear. The graduate students wanted to leave. Nakamura convinced them to stay, but Sarah could see the fear in their eyes. This wasn't theoretical anymore. This was dangerous. The next morning, Ranger Thompson returned with bad news. Titan filed a lawsuit. They're claiming your mining claims violate wilderness protection laws. They've got 3 environmental groups as co-plaintiffs. What? But we're doing it sustainably. They don't know that. All they know is someone filed mining claims in wilderness areas. Titan's lawyers are very good at making it sound like you're planning strip mining operations. How do we fight this? You get those environmental groups on your side. Show them Carter's protocol. Prove you're not the enemy. Sarah spent the next week meeting with environmental groups. Sierra Club, Wilderness Society, Colorado Wild. Some were skeptical, some were hostile. But slowly, as they reviewed Carter's documentation and saw Nakamura's results, opinions began to shift. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Marie Whitecloud, Southern Ute tribal representative, drove 8 hours to visit the cabin. My people have been fighting Titan for 30 years, Marie said. They contaminated our water, destroyed sacred sites, paid officials to look the other way. When I heard about what you're doing, I had to see for myself. Sarah showed her everything, Carter's journals, the extraction sites, Nakamura's results, the water quality data showing improvement, not degradation. Marie was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I want to bring tribal elders here. If they agree this is being done right, we'll support you publicly. Indigenous support carries weight with environmental groups, could turn the tide. Why would you help me? Because you're trying to do something no one else has done. Extract resources without destroying the land. If you succeed, it proves there's another way. My people need that hope. Everyone needs that hope. 3 days later, 6 Ute elders arrived. They walked the land, examined the drill sites, tested the water, spoke in their language words Sarah couldn't understand but felt in her bones. The eldest, a woman named Julia Bending Reed, finally spoke in English. The land accepts you. The water is not angry. This is good work. We will tell people this is good work. Marie smiled. That's Ute for you have our blessing. It's more valuable than you know. But that night, Sarah received a phone call that changed everything. Unknown number again. She almost didn't answer. Sarah Bennett. Yes. This is Amanda Carter, James Carter's daughter. Sarah's heart stopped. "I've been trying to find you." "I know, I've been avoiding being found, but I read the article, I saw what you're doing." Amanda's voice cracked. "I was 4 when my father bought that land. I remember visiting him. He'd show me rocks, explain how mountains formed, teach me to fish in the creek. After he died, my mother told me he was crazy, that his obsession destroyed our family. For 50 years, I believed that." "I'm sorry." "Don't be. You proved my mother wrong. My father wasn't crazy. He was a visionary, and you're finishing his work." Amanda was crying now. Thank you for honoring him. Thank you for proving his death meant something." "Did your mother ever talk about how he died?" Long silence. She knew. She knew it wasn't an accident, but she was scared. Titan offered her money to stay quiet. She took it. We lived on that money for 20 years. I didn't know until she died last year and I found her journals. What did the journals say? That Richard Hartwell came to our house 2 days after my father died. Told her the carbon monoxide story was for everyone's protection. If she questioned it, she'd lose everything. Her house, her daughter's future, everything. So she stayed quiet. Sarah felt sick. "I'm so sorry." "I'm flying to Colorado next week. I want to see the cabin. I want to see what he was trying to protect. Can I visit?" Of course you can." After hanging up, Sarah told Elena everything. Elena's face was grim. Amanda's testimony could reopen the investigation into James's death. If she has her mother's journals, that's evidence of witness intimidation, obstruction of justice. The statute of limitations on murder never expires. We could get justice for Carter? We could. But Sarah, it also means Titan will go nuclear. If they're facing murder charges, they'll do anything to discredit you. Discredit Amanda, make this all go away. Let them try. The next day, David Chen published his follow-up article. Carter's daughter speaks. The murder titan resources buried for 40 years. Amanda's interview was damning. Her mother's journal excerpts were devastating. Within hours, the FBI announced they were reopening the investigation into James Carter's death. Titan stock dropped 11% in one day. Victoria Hartwell called Sarah's phone 37 times. Sarah didn't answer. On the 38th call, she picked up. "What?" "We need to talk. Face to face. I'm coming to the cabin." "I don't think so." "Please." Victoria's voice sounded different, broken. "Please. I just found out what my father did. I didn't know. I swear to God I didn't know." "You didn't know your father murdered James Carter?" "No, I knew he was ruthless. I knew he cut corners. But murder?" Victoria was crying. "I've spent 40 years continuing his legacy. I thought I was building on his success. I was building on murder." Sarah's anger wavered. "Why should I believe you?" "Because I'm about to resign from Titan. I'm about to testify against my own company, and I need you to know I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry for what I said about your daughters. For the threats, for everything. I thought I was doing business. I was doing evil. Come tomorrow, noon. Elena will be here." Victoria arrived in a Subaru, not the Mercedes. She wore jeans and a simple jacket. No makeup. She looked like she'd aged 10 years in 10 days. Inside the cabin, she stood looking at Carter's belongings. His books, his tools, his maps on the wall. He was right here, working on something that could have changed everything, and my father killed him for it. "Yes," Elena said from the doorway. "He did." Victoria turned, saw Elena, froze. "You're the woman from the photographs, the one he loved." "Yes." "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "Sorry doesn't bring him back." "I know, but I have something that might help." Victoria pulled out a flash drive. "Every file Titan has on James Carter, including my father's personal notes. He documented everything. Thought he was being careful, protecting himself legally. Instead, he created a confession." Elena took the flash drive carefully. "Why are you giving this to us?" "Because I don't want to be my father. I don't want his legacy to be mine. I'd rather burn down everything we built than continue what he started." Sarah studied Victoria's face, saw genuine remorse, genuine horror at what she'd discovered. "What will you do now, Suk?" "Testify, resign, use whatever money I have left to clean up the damage Titan caused. It won't be enough. But it's something." "The board will destroy you." "They're already trying. I don't care anymore. I spent 40 years climbing to the top of a company built on murder and lies. I'd rather have nothing and be able to sleep at night." After Victoria left, Elena examined the flash drive. This is everything. Communications, financial records, engineering reports they falsified, witness statements they buried. Sarah, this doesn't just reopen James's case. This could bring down the entire company. Good. That night, Sarah finally found tape 3. Hidden not in the cabin or the cave, but buried at the creek where she'd first found Carter's arrow. She'd been walking past it for 2 months without knowing. The tape was different. Carter looked sick. Tired. He knew he was dying. If you're watching this, you won. You survived. You fought back. You're about to change everything. He smiled weakly. I'm not going to survive. I know that. They've made it clear. But I'm not afraid anymore. Because I know someone will come. Someone will finish this. That someone is you. He leaned closer to the camera. The treasure isn't in the rare earths. The treasure is proving it can be done differently. Proving that resources can be developed without destroying communities, without poisoning water, without murdering anyone who gets in the way. You're not just mining rare earths, you're mining hope. Don't ever forget that. The tape ended. Sarah sat crying while Emma hugged her and Sophie slept peacefully. The next morning, the FBI arrived. 3 agents. They wanted to see everything. Carter's journals, the cave, the tapes, Amanda's mother's journals, Victoria's flash drive. They documented everything for 6 hours. The lead agent, a woman named Patricia Reeves, finally said what Sarah had been waiting to hear. We're opening a criminal investigation into Titan resources, murder, obstruction of justice, witness tampering, environmental crimes. This is going to be big, very big. Are you prepared for that? No, but I'm doing it anyway. You'll need protection. They're going to escalate. Death threats. Maybe worse. I can't leave. This is my home. Then we'll have agents nearby. Not close enough to be obvious, but close enough to respond fast. Reeves handed Sarah a card with a direct number. Anything happens, anything at all, you call this first. Understand? Sarah understood. That afternoon, Dr. Nakamura completed the first full extraction cycle. The results were published immediately in a preprint server. By evening, it had been downloaded 40,000 times. By morning, major news outlets were covering it. Carter's protocol worked. It was viable. It was revolutionary. Sarah's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Universities wanting to study the method, companies wanting to license it, investors wanting to fund expansion, politicians wanting photo opportunities. She ignored all of it except one call. MIT Alumni Association. They wanted to give her an award, the same award she'd won years ago before Marcus destroyed everything. I don't deserve an award. I just found someone else's research. Ms. Bennett, you took that research and proved it works. You stood up to corporate intimidation. You're showing the world that another way is possible. That deserves recognition. Can I bring my daughters? We're counting on it. But that night, everything almost fell apart. Sarah woke to smoke. The cabin was on fire. She grabbed Emma, and Sophie ran outside into the cold November night. Behind her, flames were consuming Carter's cabin, consuming everything they'd built. Elena came running from her truck where she'd been sleeping, called 911. But they were 40 minutes from town. The cabin would be gone long before fire trucks arrived. Sarah stood holding her daughters, watching James Carter's legacy burn, and screamed into the night. Rage and grief and helplessness all mixed together. Then she saw it. On a tree near the road, spray-painted in red, final warning, sell or die. The FBI agents appeared within minutes. They'd been watching. They'd seen someone running from the property. They hadn't caught them, but they had footage. Reeves pulled Sarah aside while firefighters finally arrived too late to save the cabin. We're moving you to protective custody. No, I'm not leaving. Ms. Bennett, they tried to kill you tonight. You and your children. You can't stay here. This is my land. Carter died for it. I'm not abandoning it because Titan is desperate. Then we're putting agents on site. 24/7 protection. This isn't negotiable. Sarah looked at the smoking ruins of the cabin. Everything was gone. Carter's journals burned. His tools melted. His maps ash. But she'd digitized everything. Sent copies to Elena, to Nakamura, to David Chen. Carter's work was safe even if the physical items were gone. Okay, protection. But we rebuild. We don't run. Emma tugged her sleeve. Mommy, our house is gone. We'll build a new one, baby. A better one. A fireproof one. Can we still live here? We're not going anywhere. Elena helped them salvage what little survived. The fireproof safe with legal documents. Some metal tools. and incredibly the third VHS tape buried near the creek untouched. They spent that night in Elena's truck, all four of them cramped, but alive. FBI agents parked nearby. As dawn broke, Sarah looked at the smoldering remains of their home and made a decision. Elena, call everyone. Environmental groups, tribal representatives, the press, everyone. Tell them to come here tomorrow. We're holding a press conference. Sarah, they think burning the cabin will scare us away. They're wrong. It just proved we're right. If we weren't a threat, they wouldn't be this desperate. Time to show them exactly how dangerous desperate people can be. Last night, someone tried to kill my children. They burned our home to the ground, left a message, sell or die. Sarah's voice didn't shake anymore. The fear had burned away for the cabin. I'm not selling, I'm not dying, and I'm not running. The Carter Cooperative is moving forward, we're rebuilding, and we're going to prove that rare earth extraction can be done without destroying communities or murdering people who get in the way. A reporter called out, "Do you think Titan Resources was behind the arson? The FBI is investigating, but I'll say this. James Carter documented rare earth deposits worth millions. He developed an extraction method that works. He refused to sell to Titan. He died in this cabin 41 years ago from supposed carbon monoxide poisoning, even though he was an engineer who'd installed detectors everywhere. I refused to sell to Titan. Last night my cabin burned. You do the math." David Chen was in the front row. "What do you need to rebuild?" "Community support. The FBI is providing security. But we need contractors willing to work under these conditions, suppliers willing to deliver materials, people willing to stand up and say that corporations don't get to intimidate their way to profit." Marie Whitecloud stepped forward. "The Southern Ute Nation is willing to help rebuild. We'll provide materials and labor. This is our fight too." One of the environmental groups Sarah had met with Colorado Wild, their representative, raised her hand. "We were skeptical at first, but after reviewing the extraction data and water quality results, we believe the Carter Protocol represents genuine innovation. Colorado Wild supports the cooperative." One by one, other groups pledged support. Sierra Club, Wilderness Society, 3 local churches, the hardware store owner from town, Deputy Martinez off-duty but in uniform. Even people Sarah had never met, just residents who'd read the articles and driven up to help. By noon, she had commitments for a temporary shelter building materials. Volunteer labor and donations totaling $48,000. By evening, a GoFundMe someone had started without asking her hit $200,000. By the next morning, it was at $600,000. "People are angry," Elena said, watching the donations climb. "They're angry about corporations, about intimidation, about everything Titan represents. You're giving them something to fight for." But the support brought new danger. That afternoon, Sarah received an email. No sender name, just a video attachment. She almost deleted it. Elena said, "Wait, let me check it first. Could be malware." It wasn't malware. It was footage. Grainy shot from a distance, but clear enough. Emma playing outside the burned cabin, a red laser dot on her chest, moving, targeting. Then the video cut to black with text. "Next time we don't miss." Sarah couldn't breathe. Elena grabbed the laptop, called Agent Reeves immediately. "They're threatening Emma directly. You need to get these girls somewhere safe." Sarah found her voice. "No, they want me scared enough to send my daughters away. Then they'll say I abandoned them. CPS removes them permanently. That's the play." "Then what do you suggest?" "More agents. Put them in the open. Make it clear anyone who comes near my daughters is under surveillance. And Elena, I need you to do something. Call every news outlet. Tell them about this video. Make it public. If they kill us now, everyone knows who did it." Reeves looked like she wanted to argue but couldn't. "You're playing a very dangerous game." "I didn't start this game. I'm just refusing to lose." Within hours, the video was everywhere. Congressman from Colorado issued a statement condemning domestic terrorism. Senator called for federal investigation. Governor promised state resources. Titan stock dropped another 8%. That night, Sarah's phone rang. Marcus. "Sarah, Jesus Christ, are you okay? I saw the news." "Now you care." "I always cared. I fucked up. Okay, I took their money because I was desperate and stupid, and I convinced myself it was about protecting the girls, but this threatening Emma, I never signed up for that." "What do you want Marcus to help, to actually help this time?" "I have information about Titan's legal strategy. They're planning to declare bankruptcy restructure and bury all the criminal liability with the old corporate entity." Sarah's blood ran cold. "Can they do that?" "If they're fast enough, yes. They'll declare bankruptcy next week, create a new company that buys the assets but not the liabilities. Everyone gets off clean except some fall guys who'll do minimal prison time. How do I stop it? You can't, but the FBI can. If they move fast enough to freeze assets and file criminal charges before the bankruptcy, you need to call your FBI contact tonight. Sarah called Reeves, explained what Marcus had told her. Reeves was quiet for a long moment. Your ex-husband just handed us the timeline we needed. We'll move first thing tomorrow. Sarah, this might actually work. Morning brought Amanda Carter. She arrived in a rental car, 57 years old, but with her father's eyes. She stood looking at the burned cabin ruins and cried. I'm so sorry. I should have spoken up years ago. I should have pushed for an investigation when my mother died. I was scared. Sarah hugged her, this woman she'd never met but felt connected to through tragedy and time. You're speaking up now. That's what matters. Can I see the cave where he worked? They hiked together. Emma and Sophie with them, FBI agents following at a discreet distance. In the cave, Amanda touched her father's equipment, read his notes, and broke down completely. He was trying to save the world, in his own way, and they killed him for it. We're going to make sure everyone knows that, Elena said from the cave entrance. Every person who donated to the rebuild, every news outlet covering this story, they're all witnesses now. Witnesses to what Titan is, what they've always been. Amanda pulled herself together. I have something. I didn't tell the FBI yet because I wanted to give it to you first. She pulled out a small leather journal from her bag. My father's personal diary, not his geological journals, his actual thoughts. My mother hid it for 40 years. I found it in her things. Sarah opened it carefully. The first entry was dated January 1967. Jennifer is furious with me for leaving NASA. She doesn't understand that I can't be part of building weapons. I became a geologist to explore creation, not facilitate destruction. If these rare earth elements are as abundant as I think they could power a peaceful technological revolution, clean energy, sustainable development, a future where we don't have to choose between progress and survival, but only if the right people control them. Not the military, not corporations like Hartwell's operation, people who understand stewardship. Later entries documented his growing certainty about the deposits, his developing extraction protocol, and his escalating conflict with Richard Hartwell. July 1977. Hartwell came to the cabin today. Made threats that weren't quite threats. Said accidents happen to people who don't cooperate. I told him I documented everything. Copies in 3 locations. If anything happens to me, it all goes public. He left angry. I don't think I've bought much time. The final entry was dated December 14th, 1978. 1 day before Carter died. They're coming tonight. I can feel it. I've prepared as much as I can. Hidden the research. Left clues for whoever comes next. Made peace with Jennifer as much as possible. Told Elena I love her one last time. If you're reading this, whoever you are, please finish this. Please prove it was worth it. Please show the world there's another way. Don't let them win. Amanda was crying again. He knew they were going to kill him, and he stayed anyway. Because he believed someone would come, Sarah said. He believed his work mattered more than his life. Did it? Sarah looked at Emma and Sophie at the cave full of equipment that was changing an industry at the burned cabin ruins that had sparked a movement. Yes, it absolutely did. That afternoon brought the news they'd been waiting for. FBI raids on Titan Resources headquarters. 17 executives arrested. Assets frozen. Bankruptcy filing blocked. Victoria Hartwell was arrested too, but released within hours as a cooperating witness. She called Sarah immediately. They're going to try to kill me. You know that, right? I'm the one who gave you the files. I'm the one who's testifying. I'm dead. Then go into protective custody. I can't hide for the rest of my life. Sarah, I need to ask you something. Something crazy. What? Can I come work for the cooperative for real, not as some symbolic gesture? I know mining operations. I know corporate strategy. I know how Titan thinks. I could help. Sarah wanted to say no, wanted to tell Victoria to disappear and never contact them again. But she thought about Carter's words, about second chances, about redemption. You'd work for minimum wage, under supervision, doing whatever needs doing, no special treatment. I understand. And Victoria, if you betray us, if this is some scheme, Elena knows people who won't need to worry about Titan killing you. I know, I'll be there tomorrow. Elena was furious when Sarah told her. You're hiring the woman who threatened your children. I'm hiring someone who knows the enemy and who might actually want redemption enough to earn it. This is insane. Everything about this is insane. We might as well go all in. The temporary shelter went up in 3 days. Not a cabin, but a modular structure, fireproof secure. Not home, but safe. Emma and Sophie adapted like they had adapted to everything else with resilience that broke Sarah's heart. Dr. Nakamura returned with bigger equipment and a plan. We've proven the protocol works at small scale. Now we need to prove it works commercially. That means processing volume, real extraction operations. How long? 6 months if we're lucky, a year more likely. But Sarah, if this works, we're talking about revolutionizing the entire rare earth industry. Every mine in the world would have to adapt or become obsolete. Victoria arrived the next day, driving that same Subaru carrying one suitcase. She looked at the burned cabin ruins at the temporary shelter at the FBI agent stationed around the property. I did this. I helped create this. Yes, Sarah said. Now help fix it. Victoria worked like someone trying to atone for 40 years of sin. She organized supply chains, negotiated with contractors, used her industry contacts to source equipment Titan would have blocked. She worked 16-hour days and slept in a tent. After 2 weeks, Elena grudgingly admitted she's useful. She's desperate, Sarah corrected. Desperate to prove she's not her father. Are any of us not our fathers? Sarah thought about her own father gone since she was 12, about Marcus and his gambling, about Carter and his daughter Amanda. We're all running from or running toward what our parents were. Victoria's running from. That has to count for something. The extraction operations expanded. 3 sites now all using Carter's protocol, all showing the same results. High yield, minimal impact, water quality improving, not degrading. The data was undeniable. But one night in late November, Emma woke up screaming. Sarah ran to her thinking it was nightmares about the fire. It wasn't. Mommy, there was a man at my window. He was looking at me. Sarah's blood turned to ice. She called Agent Reeves while Elena checked the perimeter. They found footprints. Fresh. Leading from the temporary shelter to the tree line and disappearing. Reeves brought in dogs. They tracked the scent half a mile to a dirt road where tire marks indicated someone had been waiting in a vehicle. He was watching for a while, Reeves said. Probably casing the place, planning something. How did he get past your agents? Bitfo. We're spread thin. Too much ground to cover. Sarah, you need to consider relocating, at least temporarily. To wherever we go, they'll find us. At least here we have support, community, infrastructure. Then we need more agents. I'll request additional resources. But that night, lying awake with Emma pressed against her and Sophie sleeping in her crib, Sarah wondered how long they could sustain this. How long before someone got through? How long before the luck ran out? Morning brought unexpected help. A private security firm contacted them. Blackstone security veterans who did protective details. The owner, a former Marine named Robert Chen, David Chen's brother, had read the articles. We'll provide security pro bono, 6 operators, 24/7 coverage. Consider it our contribution to proving corporations don't get to murder their way to profit. Sarah wanted to cry from relief. Why would you do this? Because I spent 20 years protecting assets for people like Titan. Then I came home and saw what they do to communities. To people. I'm done protecting the wrong side. The Blackstone team arrived that afternoon. Professional, competent, thorough. They set up a real perimeter, installed cameras, established protocols. That night, Emma slept through for the first time since the fire. December brought the first major legal victory. Federal judge denied Titan's motion to dismiss. The criminal case was moving forward. 17 defendants. Charges ranging from murder conspiracy to environmental crimes to witness tampering. Victoria was scheduled to testify in January. She spent hours with prosecutors giving them everything. Names, dates, documentation. Her testimony would be devastating, but 2 weeks before Christmas, she disappeared. Sarah got the call from Agent Reeves. Victoria Hartwell is missing. She didn't show up for a scheduled meeting with prosecutors. Her apartment is empty. Phone's off. We're treating this as a potential abduction. Elena looked stricken. They got her. Titan got her. We don't know that. Where else would she be? 24 hours later, they had their answer. Victoria called from a burner phone. I'm okay. I'm sorry I scared everyone. I had to disappear for a bit. Where are you? I can't say, but I'm safe. I'm with people who want to help. Former Titan employees who've been documenting crimes for years, waiting for a chance to come forward. There are 7 of us. We're pooling our evidence. Sarah, we have everything. Not just my father's files. Current operations, ongoing crimes. Titan's been bribing officials in 3 states. We can prove all of it. Why didn't you tell the FBI? Because I don't know who to trust. Titan has people everywhere. But I trust you. I'm going to send everything to you, encrypted. You decide who gets it, who can be trusted. Victoria. I have to go. Tell Elena I'm sorry. Tell everyone I'm sorry. And Sarah, Merry Christmas. You're going to get the best present you've ever had. Justice. The line went dead. The encrypted files arrived on Christmas Eve. Gigabytes of data, financial records, emails, internal memos, audio recordings, video evidence. 7 people, including Victoria, all former Titan employees, had been secretly documenting everything for years. Sarah, Elena, and Agent Reeves spent Christmas Day reviewing it all. By evening, Reeves was on the phone with her superiors. This is enough to bring RICO charges, organized crime. This isn't just murder and environmental violations. This is systemic corruption. We're talking about potentially dozens of additional defendants. How long until you can move on this? We'll need to verify everything, cross-reference, build the case, maybe 2 months. But Sarah, this changes everything. Titan doesn't survive this. The company's done. Christmas dinner was potatoes and canned vegetables heated on a camp stove, but it felt like a feast. Emma decorated a pine tree they'd cut from the property. Sophie, now 14 months old, toddled around getting into everything. Margaret had driven up bringing presents and tears. I'm so proud of you, Margaret said. Terrified, but proud. The terrified part is pretty constant. Your father would have loved this. Watching you take on the establishment. He always said you were the brave one. I'm not brave, I'm just stubborn. Same thing, honey, same thing. After dinner, Sarah and Elena sat outside watching snow start to fall. The FBI agents and Blackstone security were visible keeping watch. But for the first time in months, Sarah felt almost peaceful. We're going to win, Elena said. James is going to get justice. Maybe, or maybe Titan finds a way out. They always do. Not this time. This time they went after the wrong person, someone with nothing to lose. Sarah laughed. I have everything to lose. Emma, Sophie, this land, everything Carter worked for. But you're willing to risk it. That's the difference. Titan's used to people who protect what they have. You're protecting what you believe in. That's dangerous. New Year's Eve brought Amanda Carter back, this time with her own children. Carter's grandchildren, teenagers who'd never known their grandfather, standing in the cave where he'd worked, touching his equipment, reading his notes. Mom used to tell us Grandpa was crazy, Hekla, Amanda's daughter said, that he threw away everything for some obsession. He did throw away everything, Sarah said, but not for obsession, for principle. He believed resources should serve people, not profits. He died for that belief. Now we're proving he was right. The extraction data from December showed consistent results. 3 sites operational, monthly production value hitting $400,000. Environmental monitoring showing improvement across every metric. Water quality up. Soil stability maintained. Native vegetation returning. Dr. Nakamura presented the results at a geology conference in January. Standing ovation. 3 major universities immediately started grant applications to study the Carter Protocol. 2 international mining companies requested licensing information. We did it, Nakamura told Sarah over video call. We proved it works. Every objection has been answered. Every metric exceeded. Carter's protocol is now mainstream science. So what happens now? Now we scale. We license the technology globally. We change the industry. And we do it before Titan or companies like them can stop us. But scaling brought new problems. The cooperative needed infrastructure, processing facilities, transportation, storage, things that cost millions they didn't have. Sarah spent 3 weeks meeting with investors, foundations, government agencies. Everyone wanted a piece of the revolutionary new technology. Everyone had conditions. Everyone wanted control. She turned them all down. We're not selling control, she told the 40th venture capitalist who'd pitched her. This technology serves communities, not shareholders. That's non-negotiable. Then you'll never scale. You'll be stuck doing small operations while someone else patents around you and takes the market. Then we're stuck. I'm not repeating Titan's mistakes with different owners. Elena found the answer. Community bonds. Local investment from people who cared about the mission, not just the returns. They'd done it before for small projects. Why not for this? Because this needs $10 million, Sarah said. That's not community fundraising. That's institutional capital. What if we got 10,000 people to invest $1,000 each? That's insane. So was buying a cabin for 10 cents. They launched the bond offering in February. $10 million in community bonds, 5% annual return, 10-year term. The goal seemed impossible. They hit $10 million in 4 days. ended up at $37 million before they closed the offering. 37,000 people from all 50 states and 22 countries investing an average of $1,000 each to support the Carter Cooperative. "This is bigger than us," Elena said, looking at the investor list. "This is a movement." Sarah felt the weight of it. 37,000 people trusting her with their money. Trusting the cooperative to prove corporations weren't the only way to develop resources. "We can't fail them." "Then we won't." But the day after the bond offering closed, the threats escalated again. Someone sent a package to the temporary shelter. Inside, a dead rat and a note. "You're next." 2 days later, someone took a shot at Sarah while she was walking from the extraction site back to the shelter. The bullet missed her by inches, hitting a tree instead. Blackstone Security returned fire. They didn't hit anyone, but they found shell casings from a high-powered rifle. Agent Reeves brought in a tactical team. "This is attempted murder. Federal offense. We're going to flood this place with agents." That night, Sarah made a decision. She called a family meeting. Elena, Amanda, Margaret, even Marcus, who'd been visiting more regularly, trying to rebuild his relationship with the girls. "I think I need to send Emma and Sophie away, just temporarily, until the trial, until this is over." Emma, who'd been listening from the doorway, ran into the room crying. "No, Mommy, no, I don't want to leave. Baby, it's not safe here. I don't care. This is our home. We paid 10 cents for it. It's ours." Sarah pulled Emma close, crying too. "Someone tried to shoot me today. Someone wants to hurt us. I can't keep you safe if I'm worried about you every second." Marcus spoke up. "Send them to me. I'm in Denver now. Different apartment. Clean for 6 months. I promise, Sarah, I promise I'll keep them safe." Sarah looked at her ex-husband, saw genuine fear and genuine commitment. "You're sure?" "I'm sure. I failed them before. I'm not failing them again." Sophie, not understanding, but sensing the emotion, started crying too. Sarah held both her daughters, breathing in the smell of their hair, memorizing the feeling of them in her arms. "Okay, but Marcus, if anything happens to them, I know you'll kill me. The FBI will kill me. Elena will kill me. I get it. Nothing's going to happen to them." The girls left the next morning. Sarah watched Marcus drive away with Emma pressed against the back window, still crying, and felt part of her soul tear away. "You did the right thing," Elena said. "Then why does it feel like I just lost everything?" "Because you're a mother. It's supposed to feel like that." Without her daughters to protect, Sarah became reckless. She pushed the extraction operations harder, worked longer hours, took bigger risks. When another sniper targeted the site, she stood in the open and dared them to shoot. Agent Reeves pulled her aside. "You have a death wish. I have a mission. And if they kill me, everyone knows why. Everyone knows who. My death becomes evidence." "Your death becomes a tragedy. Don't be stupid." But Sarah couldn't stop. She did press conferences, television interviews, testified before Congress about the need for rare earth supply chain reform, made herself the most visible target possible, because visibility was protection. As long as everyone was watching, Titan couldn't make her disappear quietly. March brought the trial. United States versus Titan Resources Corporation et al., 17 defendants. Judges' chambers filled with lawyers. Media overflow room packed with reporters. Sarah sat in the front row every single day. Victoria testified for 3 days straight. Detailed every crime, every bribe, every threat, every cover-up. Her father's murder conspiracy, her own complicity, everything. On cross-examination, Titan's lawyers tried to destroy her credibility. "Ms. Hartwell, isn't it true you're testifying because you face criminal charges yourself?" "Yes." "And you've been offered immunity in exchange for your testimony?" "Yes." "So you're a criminal trying to save herself by blaming others?" Victoria leaned forward. "I'm a criminal taking responsibility by telling the truth. Yes, I participated. Yes, I'm guilty. But I'm not letting my father's legacy of murder and corruption continue. You can destroy my credibility all you want. The documents speak for themselves. The recordings speak for themselves. I'm just the messenger." The jury was riveted. Amanda testified about her mother's journals, about growing up on blood money, about 50 years of silence bought with fear and cash. She looked directly at the defendants. "You killed my father. You bought my mother's silence. You tried to kill Sarah Bennett. You threatened children. You burned homes. You poisoned water. You destroyed communities. And you did it all for profit. I hope you rot in prison for the rest of your lives." Sarah testified last, told the story of the 10-cent cabin, of finding Carter's research, of refusing to sell, of everything that followed. The fire, the threats, The laser sight on Emma's chest. All of it. "Why didn't you just sell?" Titan's lawyer asked. "You could have been rich. Your children could have been safe. Why put them through all this?" Sarah looked at the jury. "Because James Carter died 41 years ago believing someone would come. Someone would finish his work. Someone would prove there's another way. I'm not rich. I'm not powerful. But I had nothing to lose. And that made me free. Free to choose principle over profit. Free to fight back. Free to stand here today and tell you exactly who these people are and what they've done." The trial lasted 6 weeks. The jury deliberated for 4 days. Sarah barely slept, barely ate, just waited while her entire future hung in the balance. On April 15th, the verdict came. Guilty. On all counts. All 17 defendants. The courtroom erupted. Sarah collapsed in her seat, sobbing. Elena grabbed her. Amanda grabbed her. Agent Reeves squeezed her shoulder. "You did it," Elena whispered. "James finally got justice." Outside the courthouse, reporters mobbed them. Sarah made a brief statement. "This verdict isn't about revenge. It's about proving no one is above the law. Not corporations, not executives, not anyone. James Carter believed that resources should serve people, not profits. He died for that belief. Today, 41 years later, justice was finally served. Thank you to everyone who stood with us. Thank you to everyone who believed." That night, Sarah drove back to the property, now truly hers, without threat or challenge. Marcus brought Emma and Sophie back. They ran to her crying, hugging, refusing to let go. "Did you win, Mommy?" "We won, baby. We finally won." Emma pulled back her 5-year-old face, serious beyond her years. "Can we stay here forever now?" Sarah looked at the temporary shelter at the extraction sites, humming with activity at the cave where Carter had worked at the spot where the cabin had stood. "Forever and ever. This is ours, and nobody can take it away." The celebration lasted 1 night. By morning, reality set in. The verdict meant Titan was destroyed, but Sarah still had a cooperative to run a home to rebuild and 37,000 investors expecting results. "We need a permanent structure," Elena said over breakfast. "Not another temporary shelter. Something that shows we're here to stay." With what money, everything went into extraction operations. The bond offering left surplus, $3 million after equipment costs, enough to build properly. Sarah looked at her daughters, both still traumatized from the fire from the separation from months of living in fear. "I want it fireproof, bulletproof if possible, and I want a panic room, somewhere the girls can be safe if anything happens again." "You really think they'll try again after the verdict?" 17 people just got convicted. Their families, their associates. Someone's angry. Someone's desperate. I'm not taking chances. Construction started in May. This time, not a cabin, but a real house. Concrete and steel. Fireproof exterior. Reinforced windows. Security system. Panic room hidden behind a bookshelf stocked with food, water, and communication equipment. It looked like a fortress disguised as a home. Emma watched the construction crew work. "It's not like the old cabin." "No, baby, it's safer." "But the old cabin was Mr. Carter's. This is just ours." Sarah knelt down. "Mr. Carter would want you to be safe. The cabin was just wood and nails. His real legacy is the work we're doing. The extraction, the cooperative, the proof that his way works." "Do you think he's watching?" "I think if he is, he's very proud of you." But that night, Sophie woke up screaming. Sarah ran to her, found her daughter soaking wet, shaking. Not a nightmare, a memory. The fire, the smoke, the terror of almost dying. "I've got you, baby. I've got you." Sarah held her while Sophie sobbed and realized her daughters were carrying scars that wouldn't heal quickly. Maybe wouldn't heal ever. The next morning she made calls. Child therapist in Denver who specialized in trauma. Weekly sessions for both girls. Whatever it cost, whatever it took, her daughters weren't going to grow up broken because she'd chosen to fight. "They'll be okay," Marcus said. He'd been coming around more, trying to rebuild trust, trying to be an actual father. "Kids are resilient." "They shouldn't have to be. They're 5 and 1. They should be worried about toys and cartoons, not whether someone's going to burn down their house." "Then finish what you started. Make it so safe they can be kids again." June brought unexpected news. Victoria called from witness protection, where she'd been placed after testifying. "Sarah, I need to tell you something about the $7 million. "What's $7 million? My personal assets. The FBI unfroze them after the trial. $7 million sitting in accounts I can't touch from witness protection. I want to give it to the cooperative." Sarah's breath caught. "Victoria, I made that money working for Titan. Blood money, every dollar. I can't spend it. Can't live on it. Can't sleep knowing it's there. Let me do something right with it. Let me fund expansion, training programs, environmental restoration, something that matters. The FBI will think you're trying to hide assets. I don't care what they think. I care about making this right. Please, let me do this one thing. Sarah talked to Elena to the cooperative board they'd formed to her mother, who was now the cooperative's treasurer. Everyone was skeptical. Everyone worried it was a trap. But Sarah remembered Carter's words about second chances, about redemption. Okay, but Victoria, this doesn't erase what you did, what your father did. Nothing erases that. I know, but maybe it starts to balance the scales. The $7 million transformed everything. They built a processing facility that could handle triple the current volume, hired 20 new employees, all local, all fairly paid, established a training program for other communities wanting to start similar cooperatives, funded environmental restoration at 5 sites Titan had destroyed. Dr. Nakamura returned with an entire research team. We're ready to publish the full Carter protocol in Nature, but Sarah, we need your permission. Your name will be on the paper. You'll be famous, more famous than you already are. Will it help spread the protocol? Globally, every mining operation in the world will have to consider it. Then publish. The paper dropped in July. The Carter Protocol, a revolutionary approach to rare earth extraction with minimal environmental impact. Co-authored by Dr. Yuki Nakamura, Dr. James Carter posthumously, and Sarah Bennett. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Universities wanted to license the protocol. Governments wanted to mandate it. Mining companies wanted to suppress it. Environmental groups hailed it as the biggest innovation in sustainable extraction in 50 years. Sarah's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Interview requests, conference invitations, book deal offers. She turned down everything except the conferences. If she was going to be famous, she'd use it to spread Carter's work, not profit from it. But fame brought new danger. A letter arrived at the house, no return address, just a newspaper clipping about her speaking at a conference in Denver, and a single line written in red ink. Famous people make easy targets. Agent Reeves took it seriously. You need security at every public appearance, no exceptions. I can't live like that forever. You don't have to, just until we're certain all Titan associates are accounted for. Some of them are still out there, still angry. The Denver conference happened in August. Sarah spoke to 300 people about the Carter Protocol, about community-based resource development, about choosing principle over profit. Standing ovation. Questions for an hour afterward. As she left the stage, a man approached. 50s weathered face, nervous energy. Blackstone security moved to intercept, but he held up empty hands. Ms. Bennett, I just want to talk, please. Who are you? Daniel Morrison. I worked for Titan for 23 years. Middle management. I didn't know about the murder, didn't know about most of it, but I knew things weren't right. I knew and I stayed quiet. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He started crying. Sarah stood there not knowing what to do, how to respond to this man's guilt. What do you want from me? Nothing. I needed you to know. Some of us didn't know how bad it was, but we suspected, and we did nothing. I did nothing. I'm living with that now. Just wanted you to know. He walked away before Sarah could respond. Elena, who'd heard everything, squeezed her shoulder. There's probably 100 Daniel Morrisons out there. People who worked for Titan convinced themselves it wasn't that bad and now have to live with the truth. Should I feel sorry for them? You can feel however you want, but maybe understanding that most people aren't evil, they're just scared and weak, maybe that helps. September brought Emma's first day of real school. Not homeschool. First grade at the elementary in town. Sarah drove her hands tight on the steering wheel, fighting the urge to turn around and keep her daughter home where it was safe. Emma climbed out of the car, her little backpack almost bigger than her body. Mommy, what if the other kids are mean? Then you remember who you are. You're the girl who lived through fire and threats and fighting. You're tougher than any first grader has a right to be. You'll be fine. Will you stay? I'll stay for an hour, then I have to work, but I'll be here when school's done. Always. Watching Emma walk into school, Sarah felt something break and heal simultaneously. Her daughter was getting a normal life. Finally, after everything Emma got to just be a kid. But that afternoon, Emma came home crying. The kids said we're famous. They said we're rich. They said our house got burned down by bad people. They wouldn't play with me. Sarah's heart broke all over again. Baby, I don't want to be famous. I just want to be normal. There was no answer for that. No way to undo the past 6 months. No way to give Emma back her innocence. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That night, Sarah called an emergency meeting of the cooperative board. I think I need to step back, not completely, but the girls need me more than the cooperative does. They need normal. They need a mother who's present, not distracted by running an organization. Elena nodded slowly. We can hire a director, someone with management experience. You could stay on as board president, focus on big picture, but let someone else handle day-to-day. Would that work? It has to. Sarah, you saved this place. You started this movement, but you're right. Emma and Sophie need their mother. Let us help carry the weight. They hired Maria Santos, former EPA administrator, someone who understood both environmental regulation and business operations. She started in October, took over daily management, and Sarah felt like she could breathe for the first time in months. November brought the sentencing hearings. Sarah attended every one, watched 17 people learn their fates. Richard Hartwell's former associates got sentences ranging from 8 to 25 years. Victoria, because she'd cooperated, got 3 years plus probation. She'd serve her time at a minimum security facility eligible for early release if she continued helping investigations into Titan's broader corruption. Before sentencing, Victoria addressed the court. I spent 40 years becoming my father, ruthless, greedy, willing to do anything for profit. I threatened children. I helped cover up murder. I destroyed communities. No sentence can undo that, but I'm grateful for the chance to spend whatever years I have left trying to make it right. Thank you, Your Honor. The judge looked at her for a long moment. Ms. Hartwell, the only reason you're not getting 20 years is because your cooperation brought down an entire criminal enterprise. Don't waste this second chance. I won't, Your Honor. I promise. After the hearing, Victoria approached Sarah in the hallway. Thank you for giving me a chance to help, for not just writing me off as irredeemable. I'm not sure you are redeemed, but you're trying. That's something. It's everything. Sarah, when I get out, can I come back to the cooperative? I know 3 years is a long time, but ask me in 3 years. If you're still sorry, then if you've actually changed, then maybe. But Victoria, you don't get automatic forgiveness. You earn it every single day. I understand. December brought the anniversary of the trial. 1 year since everything started. 2 years since Sarah bought the cabin for 10 cents. The new house was finished solid and safe, nothing like Carter's original cabin, but home nonetheless. On December 15th, the anniversary of Carter's death, they held a memorial. Amanda came with her children. Elena brought flowers. Marie Whitecloud brought tribal elders. Dr. Nakamura flew in from Berkeley. Even Marcus came sober and steady, trying to be the father his daughters deserved. They gathered at the cave where Carter had worked, now preserved as a historical site, and Elena spoke. James Carter died 41 years ago today, murdered because he believed resources should serve people, not corporations. He left behind research that could have made him rich and famous. Instead, he hid it, protected it, and trusted that someday someone would come. Someone did. Sarah Bennett came with nothing but 10 cents and 2 daughters. She finished what James started. She proved he was right. And now because of both of them, the world is changing. Amanda read from her father's final journal entry, the one where he knew death was coming and faced it anyway. By the end, everyone was crying. He knew, Amanda said. He knew it would cost him everything, but he believed it mattered more than his life. Sarah believed the same thing. They were both right. The memorial ended with the unveiling of a plaque at the cave entrance. Dr. James Carter, 1935 to 1978, geologist. Visionary, protector of the land. His discovery changed the world. His principles changed us. That evening back at the new house, Sarah sat with Emma and Sophie. Emma was reading now, devouring books. Sophie was talking in full sentences, bright and curious. They were healing. Slowly, but healing. Mommy, tell us about Mr. Carter again, Emma said. What do you want to know? Why did he hide the treasure? Why didn't he just keep it? Sarah thought about how to explain complex ethics to a 6-year-old, because he understood that some things are more important than money, more important than being rich or famous. He understood that how we get something matters as much as getting it. Is that why you didn't sell to the bad lady? Yes, baby, that's exactly why. But we got shot at, and our house burned down, and I had bad dreams. I know, I'm sorry. If I could go back and make different choices that kept you safe, I would. But then the bad people would have won. Say, Sarah pulled Emma close. Yeah, then the bad people would have won. I'm glad they didn't win. even though I was scared. You're the bravest person I know. January brought news that changed everything again. The Chinese government announced they were adopting modified versions of the Carter Protocol for their rare earth operations. Environmental pressure from their own citizens combined with international scrutiny had forced their hand. If China was changing, the entire industry would have to follow. We did it, Dr. Nakamura said over video call. We actually changed the industry. Every major mining operation in the world is now studying the protocol, some fighting it, some embracing it, but all of them having to confront it. James won. 43 years after his death, he won. The cooperative was now extracting $12 million in rare earth elements annually. After operational costs and environmental restoration, they were distributing $9 million in community benefits. Schools, healthcare, infrastructure, environmental cleanup at 36 former mining sites across 4 states. Sarah's personal income from her board position was $60,000 a year. More than enough. Less than she'd made as an aerospace engineer, but enough to raise her daughters, maintain their home, and sleep at night knowing the money wasn't built on suffering. March brought a visitor Sarah never expected. A young woman, 23 years old, driving a beat-up Honda, carrying everything she owned in 2 suitcases. Ms. Bennett, I'm Lisa Torres. I'm a geology student at Colorado School of Mines. I'm about to lose my scholarship because I refused to do research for an oil company that wanted to use my data to fight environmental regulations. I have $47 in my bank account and nowhere to go. I read about you, about what you did, about the cooperative. I know this is crazy, but I had to try. Can I work here? Can I learn the Carter Protocol? I don't need much, just a chance. Sarah looked at this young woman, saw herself 2 years ago desperate and determined, and brave enough to bet everything on nothing. How do you feel about living in a basement room until we can build you something better? Lisa's face lit up. I'd live in a tent. I'd live anywhere. I just need a chance. Then welcome to the Carter Cooperative. Let me tell you about a geologist named James Carter who believed the future belongs to people willing to fight for it. That summer, the cooperative expanded to Nevada, partnering with local communities to develop rare earth deposits using the Carter Protocol. Then Utah, then Arizona. Each site community-owned, each site following strict environmental standards, each site proving that Carter's vision worked. Emma started 2nd grade without tears, made friends, joined soccer, slowly became just a regular kid who happened to have an extraordinary story. Sophie started preschool bright and fearless, too young to remember most of the bad times. Victoria was released early after 18 months for continued cooperation. She called Sarah from outside the prison. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect you to take me back, but I kept my promise. I testified in 4 more cases against Titan Associates. I helped recover $14 million in hidden assets, and I've thought every day about what I did, about what my father did. I can't change the past, but maybe I can spend the rest of my life trying to balance the scales. What do you want, Victoria? To work, to help, to prove I'm not who I was. Sarah thought about redemption, about second chances, about whether people could truly change. She thought about Carter's final words. Don't let them kill you too. Stay public. Stay visible. Stay human. Come to Colorado. We'll find you work. But Victoria, you start at the bottom. You earn trust. You prove yourself every single day. And if you slip, if you show even a hint of your old self, you're done. Understood. Understood. Thank you. Thank you. Victoria arrived 2 weeks later driving that same Subaru, looking older and tired and humbled. She worked extraction site maintenance, cleaned equipment, did inventory, never complained. Every evening she sat with Elena talking about Carter, about the past, about how to live with guilt. I can't forgive you, Elena told her one night. Not completely, maybe not ever, but I can work alongside you, that's something. It's more than I deserve. Yes, it is, don't waste it. Fall brought a letter from MIT. They wanted to honor Sarah with their highest alumni award. Distinguished Service, Breakthrough Innovation, Changing the World. I can't accept that, Sarah told the awards committee. I didn't invent anything. I just found James Carter's work and refused to let it die. Dr. Bennett, that's exactly why you deserve it. You took another person's research and made it real, made it matter. That's what engineering is. You engineered change. The ceremony was in October. Sarah brought Emma and Sophie, both dressed up, both proud of their mother. Marcus came too, 6 months sober now, sure rebuilding his relationship with them piece by piece. During her acceptance speech, Sarah told the whole story, the 10-cent auction, the discovery, the threats, the fire, the trial, the victory, the ongoing work. I spent 10 cents because I had nothing else. James Carter spent his life because he believed in something bigger than himself. Together, accidentally across time, we prove that the person with nothing to lose is the most dangerous person in the world to people who think money is power. We prove that principles matter, that community matters, that how we develop resources matters as much as developing them, and we prove that corporations don't get to murder their way to profit. Not anymore, not ever again. Standing ovation. But Sarah wasn't looking at the crowd. She was looking at Emma and Sophie, hoping they understood that everything she'd done, every risk she'd taken, had been for them, for their future, for a world where profit didn't require suffering. December brought the 2-year anniversary. 2 years since the 10-cent auction. 2 years since everything changed. The cooperative now operated 12 sites across 5 states, employed 200 people, and had become a model for sustainable extraction worldwide. Sarah stood at the cave entrance looking at Carter's plaque and felt his presence somehow. Not literally, but as a weight, a responsibility, a trust. "We did it," she said to the empty air. "We finished your work, changed the industry, got justice for your death. Proved you were right about everything. I hope wherever you are, you're proud. I hope you're at peace." The wind through the pines sounded almost like an answer. That night, the whole community gathered for a celebration. Not just cooperative members, everyone who'd helped. Every donor, every supporter, every person who'd believed in the impossible. Elena stood to speak. 2 years ago, Sarah Bennett paid 10 cents for land everyone said was worthless. Today, that land has generated over $30 million in rare earth elements, funded environmental restoration at 47 sites, employed hundreds of people, and changed global mining practices. But more importantly, it proved something James Carter believed until the day he died. That resources belong to communities. That extraction doesn't require destruction. That principles matter more than profit. Sarah, Amanda, everyone here, you honored James's memory. You finished his work. And you proved that one person with nothing to lose can change the world. Sarah took the microphone, Emma and Sophie beside her. "I didn't do this alone. I couldn't have. This wasn't about me. It was about all of us. James Carter left clues because he believed in humanity. He believed someone would come. Someone would care enough to finish what he started. I was just the person desperate enough and stubborn enough to try. But everyone here made it real. Everyone here changed the world. Thank you. All of you. For believing. For fighting. For proving that we're stronger together than corporations will ever be alone." The celebration lasted until midnight. When everyone finally left, Sarah sat on her porch with Elena watching stars appear over the mountains, listening to the creek that had sustained them through everything. "Do you ever regret it?" Elena asked. The 10 cents, everything that followed. Sarah thought about the terror, the threats, the fire, her daughter's trauma, the months of fear and fighting. Thought about Carter's murder finally avenged, about communities restored, about an industry changed, about proving that another way was possible. "No, I don't regret it. I'd do it again, every bit of it. Even knowing the cost." Especially knowing the cost, because now Emma and Sophie will grow up in a world where they know corporations don't win just because they're powerful, where they know people can fight back, where they know their mother chose them over money, chose principle over safety, chose to finish something that mattered. James would be proud. I hope so. I really hope so. Inside, Emma and Sophie were already asleep, curled up together in the bedroom they shared safe in their fireproof house, dreaming whatever dreams brave children dream. Sarah watched them memorizing their peaceful faces and felt the weight of the past 2 years finally lift. They'd won. Against impossible odds with nothing but 10 cents and stubborn determination, they'd won. Carter's legacy was secure. The cooperative was thriving. The industry was changing. Justice had been served. And 2 little girls who'd almost lost everything now had a future built on principles worth fighting for in a home that truly belonged to them on land bought for 10 cents that had changed the world. Sarah closed her eyes finally at peace and whispered one last thank you to James Carter, to everyone who'd helped to the universe that had brought her to that auction with 10 cents in desperate hope. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Tomorrow would bring more work, more responsibility, more weight to carry. But tonight, Sarah Bennett, the woman who'd bought a condemned cabin for 10 cents and discovered a $20 million secret, allowed herself to simply be a mother whose daughters were safe, whose principles remained intact, and whose choice to fight had proven that the bravest thing anyone can do is bet everything on nothing at all, and refuse to surrender when everyone says it's impossible, because the person with nothing to lose and everything to prove will always be more dangerous than the corporation that thinks money is power, and that lesson that truth was worth every moment of fear and every sacrifice required to prove it to a world that had forgotten that ordinary people armed with extraordinary courage can still change everything.